Greetings. Hey, I'm on time. Pretty cool, huh? It's all right. I left you like 50 of them. Okay, so it's wired up. Yes, I do have a pad in the background of a nice solid E. What you're hearing right there is one of the little tricks of the Walrus Audio Slotva. It has a freeze, and I've wanted one of those for years now. Play a note, play a chord, hit the button, and it just kind of stays going in the background like a big old keyboard thing. You can play over all you want. I'm assuming you're still hearing it, so. It's cool as hell. Nope, it's not. So you can hear it fade out there. So with that off, there's actually a substantial signal going through it right now, and kind of an ambient thing. So I'll just keep that kind of down low. And isn't that awesome? It's this is like the best reverb in the world. I'm never getting away from this. Is it for me. I'm good. However, the delay that I was expecting last Friday was delayed. As you remember, on Saturday, I was taking it up to Tacoma. I did that. I still haven't got an email, like receipt, saying that, yep, you returned it, here's your money. My PayPal account doesn't reflect it either, but I got a piece of paper that says, yes, we're giving you your cash back, and that's that. So my next one should be arriving here sometime around Friday. And maybe at that point I'll have my perfect setup. But by the way, today I'm also playing with a Flamma Black Rat pedal, as opposed to the blue distortion that I've been using lately. So I'm going through my pedals and seeing which ones I have to keep. I've got to keep this one. This sounds great. And I got to keep the blue distortion. That sounds great. But I think I'm going to go ahead and ditch the. And it's still, we're talking. It's like quabbling over pennies, or quibbling over penny. What was the word I'm looking for? Having an argument about very, very little differences. But for me, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the cash cow from Dan Electro. Sounds great, but it doesn't have that something that I want that works really well with the gear that I've got. And the one that's going to be a hard one to get rid of, I mean really hard to get rid of, is the Mojo Hand Extra Special Overdrive. It's fabulous. This, though, is Satriani out of the box. And for a $30 pedal, it does great. Now, the Slotva, S-L-O-T-V-A, is with an umlaut over the O, is not that cheap, but it's worth it. But when you engage the freeze, it freezes this signal as a pad, and then, extra reverb just kind of over and over again. And then you get to play without the reverb because it's in the background. So. Way down. There we go. Because we don't need, super washed out reverby signal. Much better. So let's talk a couple of things real quick. This is a Black Winter from Seymour Duncan. It's an actually expensive pickup. I purchased this one for $30 a couple of years ago, and I've just never had a place I could use it. So the question I have is, does it sound better than any of the ones that I've been paying $30 for? No. Does it do anything extra special that any of the other ones from, my favorite, Guitar Part Zone, what he has to offer as far as like the Alnico 8 or the Alnico 5s or some of the ceramics? No. It's okay, but, price comparatively, $130 versus, and I got it for 30, but $130 versus $30. I'll take the $30. So yes. Expensive. So I got an expensive pickup, and it's expensive for $30. Yeah, let me explain that a little bit clearer. If you bought this retail, it's like $127 or $118, $127, something like that. It's over $100. I bought mine used. It was on Sweetwater, the used section there, and it was like $30, and I'm like, okay, sold, because I always wanted to try one, and I just never tried it. And before I tried this one out, I bought another one from Bill, who's on here every once in a while, and I paid $50 for that. So I'm going to take this one out. I'm going to put Bill's in here. I'm going to keep it, but I'm going to go ahead and sell this one for $50 to still use a $30 Seymour Duncan Black Winter. But in my opinion, if you were to go, I'm sorry, Seymour, I know you're out there somewhere not listening to me. Yeah, but I cannot justify that kind of a price difference. Not when something's available that's just as good, that does just everything else that these do, for a fraction of the price. I can't justify it. There's no way you can't justify it. You can't justify this for $80 in comparison to that either. You could start to say, hand wound in America, were all the parts printed in America too? I mean, did you hand stamp the bobbins, for instance? No, probably not. But if they did and it was 100% here, okay, maybe I could justify $80 for it. Man, I can't. I just can't. So I'm hoarse today. I don't know why. I've been hoarse for the last couple of days. Maybe it's a lack of water. Don't know, but I'm not feeling ill. But I'll tell you what. The shirt I'm wearing, it's not perfectly fitting, but I haven't been able to wear it in 4 years. Today is day 30 of the carnivore diet. And I still haven't lost any weight, but I've lost size because I can fit mediums now. And I wasn't able to say that before. Not all of my mediums. Some of my mediums are kind of small because, they kind of ran between brands what constitutes a medium. But even the mediums that were the larger mediums that I couldn't fit into up until this whole thing, I can fit into now, so I'm good. Anyway, so this is kind of actually in person kind of coming off like folk art. It's an interesting color mix, and I don't hate it, I have to say. There is a problem with it. The barrel jack has a bit of a problem. If the cable in it is not pulling straight down, or pulling down a little bit, so It might not stay long to the. That's all right, buddy. You do your thing. You do your thing. I'm only going to be talking about things like finger independence today, trying to play strategically. In other words, if you're playing something, how to think about what the next thing is that you're going to play, so you play the other thing maybe in a way that constitutes going to the next one better. No, this is the 7th guitar I ever built. I just refinished it and put in different pickups. So it's new maybe to the show because I've never played it while on stream before. It spent the last 2 years covered in what is that? Some sort of copper foil. So I bedecked it in copper and I hated it. I just hated it. And I figured one day I'll refinish it, so I did. So now looks somewhere between what is that? Arts and crafts movement and I'll tell you what, it's tiny. And I'm tiny too. I designed my guitars to fit me, and it's small and it's very comfortable. And it fits here very well, and it fits, where I prefer to keep them very well. And also it fits really well when you're doing, the kickback thing. It doesn't shove itself way up here. There it is. There it is. But that's the one problem I've got with it right now is the barrel jack needs a replacement, and I don't have one. So. Well, the guitars that Judas Priest used back in the 80s were Hamers. The one in particular I think you're thinking of as far as this kind of shape is concerned is called the Phantom. Glenn Tipton used that for years. Very good stuff. Yeah. I agree it's in the right place too. I've actually come to the conclusion that they should be in the back of the instrument. So instead of me, routing out this whole thing and putting this there, because the route is only really here, you would get a output jack like this here. It'd be basically the same as like what you'd see on the front of a Fender facing down. It'd be facing up like that. And that's the new design. So at some point in the future, you're going to see one. But now is not that time. Although, this is the only guitar I've built with a 12-inch radius on the fretboard. Most of them I build with either 20 or flat. I'm going back to flat. I like flat. This also has copper side dots. Solid metal copper side dots. So that's interesting. Hard to play in low light, though. They don't really pick up a lot of light and transfer it to your eyes. So if I did this again, yellow clay dots all the way. So they just, bling where it's dark. Yellow stands out. Sticking with the no inlay on the fretboard. I do like the headstock shape, although it's a little bit reminiscent of Caparison. So, yeah, and let's see here. The neck pickup, by the way, if you think this sounds pretty good. I think it sounds pretty good. If I could hit the right notes. That was $12.50. What's the price difference here? Is it justifiable to charge over $100 for something that you can get for $12? I don't think that that's any kind of gouging. I just think that they've got their margins wrong. So, that's that. If they lower their prices, they could sell more. If you sell more, you'll make more money, depending on how low, you can cut the cost by not cutting costs of materials as far as like their value or their worth. But, there's ways around it. There's a curve to this, economically speaking. And, if Duncan lower your prices back to where they were in 1990, being $80 a pickup, now we're talking. $72 for a JB, now we're talking. Because that's the value, I think. That's fine. But, $12 sounds really, really like a 59. Sounds really good. Something about this shape, by the way. This is pretty far out of the way. Proper technique. All the way up to the 24th fret, you're not hitting anything here. You don't have to, change the way you play in order to play on the guitar anywhere. You can play the same way all the way up as you do all the way down. You don't have to change anything. I'm not trying to sell y'all on the design, by the way. I'm just saying that I think the design is valuable to me just because of that. Although I think that these later on I decided should be like this. And so every one of my later designs is this here, that's that. But this is also the only guitar I've built with a stop bar tailpiece, so. I have not. So, yeah, I have no idea. What you can do to gauge prices, though, is to head over to Reverb, look it up, and they can give you an average selling price. And that's actually a very reasonable thing. It's a nice tool that they've got. And they can show you whether the price is increasing or decreasing over time. Very cool. So the delays. My new delay won't be here until Friday. I'm very much looking forward to that. Once that's there, I think I've solidified my setup, and everything that's going to be for sale is going to be for sale. Makes me very happy, but I gotta wait until I get it. And by the way, that first one that I bought that didn't work, I gotta tell you, that's not a very good example, as a first impression for Pigtronics for me. I've heard really good things about their stuff, and the first one I get doesn't work. Yeah, not liking that. So if the second one I get also doesn't work, I'm not gonna be happy at all. And I'll have to get something like an ARP 87 or something to take over. Actually, there is a delay pedal that I'm considering getting from, I want to say Electro Harmonix. I think it's called the 71. And that sounds really close to what I'm looking for anyway. Oh, you're talking on the SG? Could be a little more curved out. I agree. So as far as this is concerned, this is all you need. You can go all the way up. There's nothing you can't reach here. And this is not in the way at all. So this does not need to be curved a bit, because if you're using technique that brings your hand out like so, you don't want to jam it in, So doing things like this, for instance, that kind of stuff, or really wide, nonsense licks. It's a thing. So, okay. The problem is, of course, Discord is kind of hit and miss. For me, I'm not getting notified about any messages I get on Discord at all. So, yeah, hey, I put a lot of effort, dude, into designing this thing. This was like the culmination of all of my thoughts, with the exception of the control layout. This was the culmination of every thought that I've ever had about what I don't like about guitars and designing it out of a guitar. So that was it for me. Oh, great. T-Mobile just took $166 from me. Lovely. So it's my bill. But I didn't like a guitar, but why do we design guitars so big when they technically kind of end right here? Well, I don't know. We could chop that down a whole lot. And so if we're playing on the couch, we don't have to worry about this part kind of jamming the guitar up in some other, unknown zone, like you're playing way up here because the part of your guitar is so damn big. Why do we put the jacks where they are? That's annoying. We should put them somewhere else. Why do we have this lower bout cutaway on guitars that always rams into your wrist when you're going up to play high, so you have to change the way you play? Why do we put volume knobs right there, so whenever you get up here, you have to, angle like this in order to, stay away from the volume knob? Otherwise, you're risking hitting it. And, that sucks. Why do we always have a radius on instruments? Why do we have a rounded neck and not a faceted one like this is? So I basically designed out all this stuff that annoys me about normal guitars. And when I did that, that's what I came up with. And here's an interesting thing here. This horn is taken off of a Washburn design. That's the only thing that I really took from directly anybody else. And I still designed it a little. Once I put that down there, I'm like, okay, let's do a little rounding here and a rounding there, and I'm going to thin it up just a little bit around here. And it's time to go ahead and move on from instruments. All right, what am I going to play now? Golly, Ned, I don't know. I'll play another one of mine. Because I like mine. And this one shouldn't have that problem. Its barrel jack is fine. Yeah, see, it's good. So, did I buy the body part? No, I made the whole thing from scratch. I designed it personally on a piece of paper Took that design, made templates out of it by transfer paper. I put a transfer paper down over some MDF, got everything down, got the center lines down and everything. Took it out to my shop, took some wood, glued it together. I've built 30 guitars, man. More than that. I think Sean has number 30. He stops by every once in a while. And I mean, when I build it from scratch, it's 100% from scratch. I've got pictures. I know you're going to cut in and out. I'll show you. Well, hello there, Mr. Dwight Bailey. How are you tonight? So let's see here. Let me find a picture or two, and I'll get to you on that. Any requests? Anything anybody want to learn? By the way, I've got a couple of things that I want to discuss as far as like finger independence and playing strategically and whatnot, but and economy picking versus strict alternate picking as far as man not serving two masters and whatnot. But yeah, let me grab a couple of photos here. We'll see if I can find them at least. Z Drive pics, pictures, Kirk guitar projects. Probably a good place to start. Guitar building. Now let's share the screen, and we'll go for it. You see, this is what that one I was just playing used to look like. I put it in this maple cap and everything, and I, kind of doing the tone thing, made it look kind of nice in the 1970s. The guitar is basically mahogany and maple, and it's 25-inch scale length. The fretboard is wenge or wenge, depending on where you're from. So I'm doing okay, man. Thanks for asking. I'm a little hoarse today, and I have been for the last couple of days, but, I feel fine, so that's that. Here's a couple that I built. I don't own either of these anymore. When it comes up, at some point it will. I love how this is spinning. Don't you love the shape of that guitar? Isn't that lovely? So there it is. This one is owned by Stuart. He shows up every once in a while. This one was purchased by a person that later turned into kind of a friend. Owns a kind of a taqueria, but it's more like South American cuisine downtown. Good guy. Don't know if he ever learned how to play it, but and I miss it. It was my first Telecaster. That was built actually as kind of a joke. I didn't design that one, but my boss plays guitar also. He was like, he's never felt a comfortable Telecaster. And I took exception to that. I was like, oh yeah, I'll build a comfortable Telecaster. Then you're going to feel a comfortable Telecaster. I had no intention of doing anything but proving that a Telecaster could be comfortable. So what did I do? I just built a Telecaster. I put a forearm cut in it. I put a big old belly cut back in there. And I put all around the back of it a half-inch over round. So that basically means it is comfortable as a Strat behind you. And in front of you, it still looks like a Telecaster. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, I build them. So, let's see. I don't build for people anymore. I build for myself. And because, I'll tell you why. Nobody can tell me what they freaking want or can answer my questions about, okay, I'll build this. What do you want me to do with this? And I'll give them an answer, a question that has a do this or do that answer. And they won't give it to me. Whatever you decide. No. It's going to be your guitar. I don't want to have to pull it out of you. It shouldn't be this hard. Give me an answer directly. And nobody's going to do it. I built 3 guitars for 3 people. It keeps getting worse every time. I'm never doing it again. Sorry. $1,500 to start is the answer. So they're good. My early examples aren't as good, but I got better. So this is one of the best guitars I've ever played. It's a very, very good instrument. This was an excellent playing guitar as well. Sounded fantastic. But largely the price depends also on what it is that you want in it. Let's see, I built an 8-string once. Here's projects. What are some of the projects? This was number 2. This was number 5. These are pickups I got from Russia. From Russia? Yeah, from Russia. But here's pictures like of a neck blank. And this turned into the 8-string later, I believe. But, that was my first, there's 3 neck blanks going to be made there. That was my first teletype. Stu also owns that one. It's a hell of a guitar too. It plays great. So I actually used walnut on the fretboard on that one. So let's see. And I did a whole lot of interesting things. We're not getting a lot of good resolution though on these, but I put in a couple of interesting things here. So that's walnut, but it's stained with like iron acetate. So it's like old fashioned ebonized. It's got hickory dots with aluminum surrounding the hickory. So it's nice offset, but you can see it very nicely. So, going on with the story, massive jumbo frets. Those are in. You can see it just, getting the beans there. I believe this was guitar 15. And yes, a 2-bolt neck joint. I do 3 now, but for a while I was doing just 2. So, I've got an 8 terabyte hard drive on this computer, a 6 terabyte on the other one. I have probably actually 2 other ones in there, a 4 terabyte and a 2 terabyte. Plus, I've got another 4 terabytes upstairs. And these aren't just the hard drives. Those are the storage drives on this. The particular hard drive that I'm using, and this is an M.2, and that's 2 terabytes. So there you go. But for storage drives, that's important. You see, I build these from scratch. I took that picture because I thought it looked funny. So anyway, stained it, oil finish, called it 1026. That's my cat. Yeah, I build guitars. What can I say? This was the last one I was building for Kevin Wire, putting in parabolic inlays. That one's a fun one because they came out super shiny. See what I'm saying? And he never got to play it. So yeah, would you look at the sheen on that, the gloss on that? It's a mirror. I polished that thing down to a mirror. Literally burnished the wood. It was amazing. So yeah. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I also hate building with Floyd Roses. Those pickups are actually not in it, but Guitar Part Zone pickups are, and they sound great. One of those pickups actually lives in the blue guitar now back behind me. So, I don't know. I've never kept in contact with the family, so I really don't know. But I will tell you this much. That guitar is alive, and it does play. It's not finished, but it does. This here, by the way, was my first $1,000 sale. It's a Bloodwood neck, or Bloodwood fretboard. Cherry neck. I love to use cherry for my necks. Because nobody uses them, except Fender did back when there was a maple shortage back in the 50s for a little while. And I think they sing. They have a particular quality that just sings, and they sound freaking great. There is a character difference between cherry and maple, and it isn't much because the Janka hardness is about the same, so is the modulus of elasticity. But they sing. They freaking sing. They add a character, and it's just beautiful. And there is a koa strip, by the way, down the middle of that neck. So yeah, there it is right there. Koa and then cherry on the sides. And the entire guitar, I built it out of cherry. I called it Cherry, of all things. So this one here, same teletype. I was really obsessed with those for a while. Stained the top, routed around the sides of it. I actually used an interesting stain for the top of that. I burned the top first, and then I applied the stain. But the stain that I used was a food dye, of all things, and it worked great. It coupled up with the oil nicely. So there's that. Bone nut. Yes, I make the nuts myself. I get the bone, but that's that. Pearloid inlay, or no, not pearl. Mother of pearl inlays. The back of it was just insane. Sometimes you choose and you choose wrong. It's like I really want. Oh, this side is gonna look great, and then the other side gets the finish on it, and it's like, oh my god. I should have used the other one. I was wrong, but. This guitar still lives. It still exists. The owner, his name is Kyle, and he still loves it. I built a bass for him. He was my first commission after this. So this one is made of solid Paduke, 100%, except for the fretboard, which was rosewood. And I made a mistake with it, so it went bye-bye. But when you're measuring scale length, and you measure twice and cut once, the second time you measure must be with the first thing that you measured with. Because if you measure with a second thing, that might not be the same. So I screwed up a little bit. This was the first guitar I built for somebody. It was just a Strat copy, but I had the body, but I made the neck from scratch. And Leonard still owns it and loves it, and I loved it and I missed it, and I recorded one thing with it. Would you look at those frets? 48 working hours. I've got it down to, about 48 working hours. So I did a video series. If you want to see one actually being built completely from scratch, I have a video series of 6 videos, and it's not short. I wasn't really good on editing for time at the time. So the first video is like 3 hours long. The second one's 2. And after that, it's like, okay, I kind of have this down, like 1 hour or less each. And it was supposed to be a 3-day build. And I've done that before. I've built a guitar fully in 4 days. But I was supposed to do a 3-day build, and it turned into a 6-day build. But it was still averaging somewhere around 48 working hours. But at any rate, and Alnico 2 Classics in there. Oh, I made the pick guard from stainless steel, and I think that's something that's worth talking about. What this that's actual rust. I rusted that. Take hydrogen peroxide and all that kind of stuff, and actually rust the thing. I had him pick which rust he likes best out of the three sheets of steel, and I cut that out, and that's a stainless steel, weldable steel. It's like 16 gauge pick guard. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I burnt the body. That was the first Shoshogiban I ever did. This is a pallet caster. I literally made that out of a pallet. This one is kind of torn apart right now. I'm going to build something around the parts of it, but I don't like 24 and 3/4 inch guitars. This was 24 and 3/4 inch. Go figure. But the layout was great. And I've only played this one in one video. It was a Queensryche video cover that I did. That's the first guitar I ever made. That was just to test the hypothesis, what I think is right. That was an idea I had for a 36 fret Jackson Rhodes. How would I kill it? Make it my own. And there's me playing that one back when I had hair and was skinnier. But I'm working on that. I'll probably fit in that shirt again. Anyway, now you've seen everything. Well, maybe not everything. Here's project collages. The first few guitars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This was the first one I built for Kevin Wire. So I guess that was for... This is number 5. Thought it was 7 for some reason, but I know it's not now for sure. And I stopped doing this after a while. Let's see. I added this, which was kind of 6. Never really finished it. I've still got pieces of it around here. My kid painted the body, so not here, but I'll show you that in a bit. And that's just basically going to be wall art. Then that was number 7. And here's pictures of Kevin's guitar from start to finish being built. This one was actually really good. It was very small, though. Another short scale, like I was saying. So I was happy with it. But he wasn't. But it all started with me making a neck. This is to give you an illustration of how big this body is compared to a Les Paul. And in this case, it's an EC1000 that I used to own, and an Ibanez. So see how much farther away that is? So it doesn't hit your hand. That's the way it should be. Well, at any rate, like I said, now you've seen everything. So, nope. I paid for it myself. It was a gift. So, projects, here's nuts, cutting a nut, stain, blah, blah, blah. Here's the build of the mahogany. There we go. We can do that. The one I was just playing. So, from scratch, in comparison to other instruments, there's the mahogany one. It started like that, but then, no, I want a maple top in there in a stylized way. This one was the one that was never finished. And that's that. Moving along. After I did all that, shape it up, put that guy in, put those in, those, frets, brass nut, at the time. Putting those in. I actually broke a drill press putting those in. I had to buy another one, so now I have a big, big pillar drill. There it is, finished. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, I built. So this is why I can authoritatively, I think, answer questions about what can go in a guitar and why I think people should do their own work. How do I fine cut the edges of a wood shape or chunk? Oh, well, after the rough cut, usually take a router bit to it. So the thing that I do first is if I have a design, I transfer that design to MDF and then I cut the MDF out. And I don't bother trying to get it super close. I will take it to a sander and like a belt sander that's, like stationary, not held. And I will, at that point, I will trim out the remaining little bits just to get it just right. After that, I check it for squareness just to make sure that the template bit or the router bit with the bearing on it, when it goes around there and shores up everything, nice and clean, will give me the shape that I want without problem. Following that, so take that template bit, you draw on your, draw on your body blank essentially where it needs to go. This is before routing, as you can plainly see. And I've changed the design here somewhat. That used to be completely rounded, and then I've kind of squared them off. Like this one is a rounded one, for instance. So anyway, After this step here, I will put the template back on it. I'm not going to cut it with a template on it, with the rough cut. I'm just going to trace around it, and that's that. Then I'll put the template back on it that I've made, and I'll take a router to it, route it all out. Once that's done, I'll go around the sander a couple of times just to make sure that there's no, marks or anything, and that's that. I'll use probably a 150 grit belt for that. So, there's that. You can, if you get this close enough, ignore the router bit completely and just do it by hand with the sander, but that takes a long ass time. And the router, that's pretty clean anyway, especially if your bits are nice and sharp, which they should be if you're going to be doing that. So there are other things that you can do as well. I mean, there's always hand sanding to do after the fact. Let me see. Let me see if I can be precise with this. I have templates for strats, for instance, that give you everything, exact locations of stuff. I don't do that with my builds. I like to. I used to subscribe to a guy named Jared Rosa. It's not like I don't like the guy or anything like that, but see, beautiful dude. Thank you so much, Stu. I appreciate you, man. I know you done play a lot of guitars, and you see, that's one of the reasons why I like to build them is because I think they play very, very well too. So like this one. It's butter. It's absolutely butter. Boy, I got a lot of reverb on there. Let me turn down the decay a little and turn that down a bit. But I appreciate you, Stu. Thank you very much for letting the people know. But yeah, that's the thing. I wanted to play guitars that would normally cost an awful lot more than the guitars that I buy. And the only way I could think of to do that was to start building them myself, because I couldn't see a test of design. Take it to a luthier, have him charge me, $3,000, $4,000, $6,000, just to try out what I think would work. That just doesn't make sense to me. I built my first guitar for $300, and I saw value in it. And I'm like, I can do better than what I did, because I screwed up on a few things, but I can do better than what I did. And so I did, and did again, and did again. And each one that I've made has been better than the last by a long shot. So Sean's guitar, it's still... When the day I delivered it was the best guitar I ever played in my entire life. Out of every single guitar I've ever made, every single guitar I've ever tried, I've never played a better instrument. No joke. And then he had me go ahead and change shit. I want bigger strings. So I got to recut the nut. It's never played the same since. It's not the same instrument. I made that 100% perfect. See, that's the reason why I won't build again. So I'm not going to do it. I'll build for me, and if somebody wants to buy something, good. Well, that's what I've come to, and it's been about a year or two since I've built anything, and I'm starting to get the itch again. This whole thing about going out and refinishing the necks, refinishing the guitars. That's put something in me that made me actually want to, go out there and maybe do some more. So, is the nut replaceable? Well, yeah. Why are you asking? Well, the nut's replaceable, but okay. So, I designed the guitar, believe it or not, to be around a certain set of strings, to be perfect with this one set that he gave me. 65. It's a 7-string. 65. Let me find a picture of that. 65 through I think it was 9. Like 9 to 65 or something like that. And everything just laid on it absolutely dead perfect to where everything was. You can cut a nut deeper. You can make a new nut. Sean didn't want a new nut. He wanted that nut. I can make him another one out of black bone or black, what's it called? I would have charged him for it. Buffalo horn. Buffalo horn is a great nut material. Fantastic nut material. I'm not going to lay this on him. This is not a rag on Sean session. I've got my problems though. I don't want Duke mahogany KW special, Kevin Wire special 8-string poplar. I don't want to deal with people's foibles if they haven't figured their shit out exactly. I don't want to have to deal with having them figure it out after the fact. That's a problem for me. If you go into a store and you pick up a guitar and you don't like it, you don't buy it. If I bring you a guitar that you say you want and you play it and you say, I don't like it, but it's perfectly fine, it is exactly what you asked for, what happens then? Do I feel like you get your money back? I mean, I have an unlimited warranty on my shit. So if through wear and tear, your frets wear out, I will replace them for free. If, something stops working suddenly, I will fix it for free. But, just complaining about something that you wanted designed in, that's something I'm not happy about. So, again, people are the reason why I don't build now and haven't wanted to go out because I got kind of PTSD about it. I'll go out there and just start going, I don't want to have anything to do with this. All this is doing is stressing me out. For my builds, well, I was building for friends, so, I wasn't charging them what I should have. But depending on the materials that you want, and keep in mind, I'm not going to build for you, but, if it's, yeah, oh, dude, it's insane because, you can't please somebody who doesn't know what they want. You can't. It's written. It's in there, the contract. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you want. We'll be fine. And know what you want, because if you start changing your mind, it's, can we do this? No. Like, if I can find photos of this, I gotta find photos of this. So, you gotta see it. It's a gorgeous guitar. So the 8, the Telly, green, Goldie. Oh, Goldie was fantastic. We already looked in projects, new Strata. Sean. He wanted a Purple Heart neck. We got him fretboard. We got him a mottled Purple Heart fretboard. Afromosia wood, because he wanted an African connection to it. He also had a Purple Heart strip and a 3-piece neck. Okay? He wanted me to stain this fucking blue. No, we don't do that. So, can we make the fretboard darker? That's the color of the wood. It will always be darker. And then can we make it lighter after we made it darker? Yes, we can stain it extra purple. Can we make it lighter? No. Not unless we make it less purple than it is. So, can we install this instead of that? No, we cannot, because you already bought this. This is what's going in. Can we do this? No. By the way, sexy ass volute. Very nice neck, have to say. This guitar weighed 11 pounds, I think, when I was done with it. That is absolutely gorgeous. Love it tremendously. We were testing, for stains here, and essentially we did go for a slightly golden, like Dutch oil finish. So that was essentially, we were also looking at maybe, making a little bit of a burst out of it. And he declined the burst. We used yellow dot inlays, clay dot inlays. I make those myself. Let's see. Headstock, there was an issue with the tip here. It kind of broke. But, and I fixed it. And it's fine. Would you look at that, though? Would you look at that fretboard? That is a fantastic freaking fretboard. Oh, by the way, those were side dots. So he wanted 5 bolts. He got 5 bolts. Get it all together. I was asking, how do you want the orientation of the pickups? And he was like, maybe like this, maybe like that. See, that's what happened. But I fixed it, and it's fine. Basically made the control cavity from scratch. This was the layout. He had to have the EMGs. And in fact, he went with an 18-volt mod, which turned into a 4-volt mod. I put that in there, basically. It's like, dude, you're not even supposed to be in here. That kind of thing. And that's it. Designed it for him based on my designs. And a bit of a solar headstock. And at that point right there, that was before I delivered it to him, but only just. I finished it then, and I delivered it to him that night. Within 2 weeks, I want to change the strings. I want big, giant, thick strings on it like bass strings. I didn't design it for that. Okay. It was always supposed to be like that. No, it wasn't. Oh, another important thing is the offset strap button. Most guitarists are right there, dead center in the middle. If you go up 1.5 inches, depending on the size of the body, but if you go up just a little bit, the balance is perfect. It will never neck dive. It loves to stay right there. Maybe I should, but again, I no longer want to build for people. That's the thing. I have built, so I have the knowledge about how to do this, and I can give advice, but I don't want to build for anyone anymore. This one was hard enough. The one I did before this for Jeremy, which was how I would redesign a Strat if given the opportunity. Let's see if I have that. Oh, yes, Violet. That wasn't it. That's the one I just refinished. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Like I said, I should have pictures of everything in here. Everything. There's the prototype, Proto 2 projects, Pig Iron. That was awesome. Mods. What do they do with mods? Oh, literally just making a mod. I was making a Halloween-y guitar here. Only available to see in one video. Let's see. Collection sale. There's the bass. But yeah, so the what we wound up calling the well, what? Because I had the Shadowcaster. It was like the Violet Caster or something like that. And I was calling all my guitars Kirkyards, by the way. So here's the logo. But and now it's just KM. It's a happy little, KM. Oh, here's another one of Stu's, the Jurassic Slag. I actually really liked this one. I was really, sick on that headstock. Cat approved. Bronze frets. Scalloped ebony fretboard. I will never do that again. He's got the only one I will ever do because, oh my God, it's so hard to do that. But that's the control layout right there. That plays very well. I kind of missed that one. But, and it's also very lightweight. It was poplar body, I believe. It could have been basswood, though. I was using a lot of different woods like that at the time. Cherry neck, though. So I don't have any pictures of the back, but there's stripes in there, too. Wenge, I believe. So, anyway, yeah, that's all said and done. As far as the that goes, the two last experiences I had, the first one was kind of tough because he didn't really know what he wants. He just said, you build it. I want whatever you build. Like, I'm asking you questions directly to you to figure out your likes and dislikes. Please answer them. So, yeah. And the guy wouldn't do it. This is Kyle. And then Jeremy, I'm asking him questions. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? How about this? Do you want this or this? Do you want this or this? And he couldn't make up his mind. He couldn't make up his mind. And he couldn't make up his mind by almost the end of it about what the color of the pickguard was going to be. So he bought the pickguard and he didn't like it after the fact. I've still got one that I got to get to him, but and he doesn't even talk to me anymore. So there's that. But yeah, well, Kirk is the first name, and Kirkyard is like a Scottish, graveyard. And I'm not Scottish. I'm more Welsh than that. I'm much more Norwegian than that, and I'm also more German than that. But I got a little Welsh in me. That's about it. No Scottish. But Kirkyard, I figured, I like graveyards. I'm a Halloween guy, and my name's Kirk. It's perfect. Now, KM's fine. The new design, it's full screen is what it is. It's simple. It's to the point. It's just this little square with a K and an M looking like runes. It's good. I'm good with that. And I'm going to stick with that. But like I said, I've been feeling the urge to actually go out and make some more shit. Because my shit wasn't bad. And now I'm actually enjoying, like, at least the finishing process again. I'm not having, like, nightmares about it. I just go out and I have a little fun in the garage, taking some stuff off and, doing it. It's a meditation. It used to be a great joy of mine until it was ruined because I don't build for other people very well. Not anymore. So... Well, by the way, I believe that's from the Welsh Marad Heath. So, oh, and these things are microphonic as hell, by the way. These are not... Hello? Whoop! Hello? Hi. Maybe not. Anyway, but they are microphonic. But I need to wax pot them. Otherwise, they sound, I think, pretty okay. But they weren't guitar parts, so you won't have that problem with them. Speaking of, where the hell did my... There it is. To answer your question, though, directly, Mr. Coogan, that would be $1,500 to start minimum. But it depends on the instrument and depends on exactly what you want in it. If we're going to... Wood's not as cheap as it used to be when I started building 10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years ago. So, it's... things have gone up. So what's that? Yeah, you heard the name only in books and novels for a long time. Most of the time nowadays, you're going to find it as a woman's first name. So there's that. So not like, for instance, if you look up Kirk Meredith on Google, which is me, you'll find Meredith Kirk, which is a golfer who's much more attractive than I am. So yeah. So, yeah, don't you be talking to me like that. So there is a transition difference here. If I go to a flat radius, the strings are kind of set at a slanted angle like so, because each string is as close to the fret as each subsequent string. Therefore, because the strings are higher or are thicker to thinner, it's going to set higher to lower. And when you're used to picking around an arc, a very subtle arc, like 20-inch radius, you go to this and it's kind of like, I'm missing things all over the place. Where the hell am I picking? So that's fun though. Anyway, on with the story. Well, name meanings too. We don't know where it came from exactly. Like I said, it's Welsh, Marad Heath, but I'm not fully Welsh. I'm more Norwegian and German than Welsh, but I've got a little tiny bit in there. I've got the Duke's blend, going in there. I'm a mutt just like everybody else. So the story goes, though, Meredith means guardian from the sea. Now, where the hell did that come from? No idea. No clue. Not any whatsoever. Kirk means church. I'm the churchy in guardian from the sea. I guess pickups are all right. I'm probably going to, you know what? I should probably swap them for some Duncans or something that I've got lying around the place. But, or I know that I've got a couple coming in that they already have a home pre-built for them. But that one I can't wait to play again. That was a good playing guitar. I did my favorite solo I ever did in my life, wrote. I played on that one. So, at some point in the future it will come back. Probably sometime this week. The postal service isn't what it used to be, and I still don't have the pickups for it yet. Naturally, I was supposed to, but I don't. Now they have the gall to say, oh, they're running late, but they'll still get to you. How nice. So this is why I do fret work, by the way, on all of the guitars that I purchase, because none of them play right, because always, every time you buy a guitar, the frets are a little funky, and every one of them needs fret job. And because I do fret jobs anyway, I'll just do the fret job and, get it out of the way. There's no reason to, give money to somebody else to do something I know I can already do. Oh, yeah. Tuner. Tuner mutes for you. So I want to talk about finger independence. And I think, I'm almost an hour in. And I had a question. I had another pick in there. That's great. But I had a question about a problem that someone is having. Where every time they go to put down like their ring finger, the middle finger follows and it goes down too. Or every time they put down the middle finger, the ring finger follows immediately. And so instead of playing, like a half step, whole step shape, they're playing a whole step like that every time. Or, when you're trying to go down, this finger is still going to be there as well. So how do we stop that? And besides the obvious, which is, don't do it and play slower to where you were forcing that to not happen. All right. So when I was younger, I did have a problem with my pinky, and I had to, you kind of teach yourself some things sometimes. And I don't mean that in a self-taught way. I kind of mean that you, and sometimes you'll try anything just to make it work. So I had the biggest problem doing this, or just like this in general. And so one of the things that I did was I held my finger and forced it to do it until I memorized the motion, and eventually it took root. So I'm not saying grab your finger and hold on to it and keep it away. But you might have to do that. My suggestion, though, was to use them separately individually. And for that, I've got two exercises, and they're both on a clean tone, so... Oh, that's a volume cut. Turn the volume down here. Oh no! That'll do just fine. All right, so the first one is one I call the 10. And it's a 10-minute exercise, which is why it's called the 10. And why is it a 10-minute exercise? Because it's hammer-ons and pull-offs, and it uses every finger and every finger combination. And it's for each of those, it's a 1-minute exercise. And it doesn't matter how fast, and I've talked about this before, but bringing it up again now is a good idea. So the 10 is something that I did religiously for at least 2 years, and I got a really good left hand out of doing it and then doing scale shapes, you know, right after it. So this whole... that comes directly as a result of doing stuff like this. So what we're doing with this is it's one finger per fret. First fret, low E string. Everybody with a guitar, go ahead and play along. I'm not going to do this for the whole 10 minutes, but I'm going to show you the different positions that we're going to be doing for 10 minutes each. But I'm going to explain it in this way. You are concentrating on proper technique and accuracy. You're concentrating also on playing it to where the sound comes out correctly. You're not pressing too hard. You're not pressing too soft to not actuate the note. So independence for all fingers, very, very, very important, because you have these. Actually, you have that one too. And, you know, if you wanted to play with everything as if they are separate instruments, you know, that's a very good idea. I wouldn't necessarily use the thumb, though I know some people who use it to great advantage, Jakey Lee included. So, you know, don't necessarily, you know, shun that. And that also includes the whole Paul Gilbert, you got to put your thumb over the top of the, you know, sometimes you do, but I don't do that all the time. But, you know, it definitely depends on some chords, though. I mean, there are very interesting shapes. I think that's a little on the ridiculous side. Just a bar chord, man. Come on. You know, what's so hard about that? I got small hands anyway. Come on. That's, you know, give me a smaller guitar. I might be able to do that. But I'm not, you know, Richie Havens, for crying out loud. So, going on, what I was saying, though, for this, gauge how hard you need to press for the first time you do it, and, you know, just kind of sit there and try to make a note. Okay, if that sounds good, press it again, and you just want to kind of calibrate yourself to where you can hit the note when you hammer on, and it sounds. That's as hard as you need to press. Now, with your thumb positioned appropriately, elbow, you know, relaxed and to your side, just kind of arcing out and over. Go ahead and press that hard again, and then pull off as if it's a guitar pick doing a rest stroke from another string. As it's kind of hanging there, that's your pull off. The pull off is just a pick. And so hammer on, pull off. Make it even now. Stay with the time. If you decide to go really fast, you're going to burn yourself out. The point is to build up to doing this. So you've never done this before. Make it nice and even, a comfortable pace, and you're doing that for 1 minute straight. So watch something on television. I used to do this while watching G.I. Joe cartoons on Saturday mornings, for instance, having a cigarette. And by the time the cigarette was done, yes, I was 18, but by the time the cigarette was done, I knew that my 10 minutes were up, you know, because it took me 10 minutes to have I used, what did I smoke? Oh, Monarchs. Or Pall Mall, and I did that for like 10 years, but, you know, no butts. So you basically could smoke it down until your fingers were burning. It was fantastic, just watching G.I. Joe and doing this. But and I was doing that at 16 through 18, so, you know. And it wasn't with G.I. Joe the whole time. You could watch other things like Mr. Rogers. So when you're done with the 1 minute on this finger, go to the next finger. Evenly. So the transitions should be seamless. You don't want to hear a difference between the two. And you don't have to do anything with this hand. You could, you know, whatever. Have a drink of tea. Wet your... Go to the next finger after that minute's up. Make sure your thumb is properly placed. You really shouldn't be moving it too much, but, you know, just make sure it's there because you're going to need it for leverage. Okay, so when that one's done, you go to the next one. 1 minute each, like I said before, and I mean this absolutely seriously. You do this for 1 minute each. And this was the one I was going like, you know, just to make sure that I could do it. But, so we're 4 minutes in now. Time to go for first finger down. This is going to be your 5th minute. And you're going to start to get tired here. These will, especially over here, it's going to almost be like pulling teeth. And it should. But you're building strength. You're building dexterity. So after that, you do this one. Might move your thumb just a little bit more towards the center of your two middle fingers. Okay, go for the next one. 1 minute in each. And I think you know where I'm going with this. After this one's done, you'll go ahead and put down your second finger, keeping the first finger down as well. And that's the killer. That's the one that usually gets most people who are having that specific problem with being able to, differentiate between the two fingers. So this one, it's because, of course, physiologically speaking, that tendon is connected. These two tendons here go to one tendon. And that's why we have a problem moving these two separately. This one's got its own, that one's got its own. These two go together. But we can make it work. We can make it happen. We can beat our own physiology. Now the next finger after a minute. Keep it going. Keep it going. It's going to hurt. Keep it going. And then finally, the last one, now that you've already worked this pinky like a mother, all three fingers down and do that. And I'll tell you what, you don't want to do it anymore after this. When you're finished, you kind of metaphorically shake your hand out. I do this a couple of times and it feels a whole lot better. That's the 10. The 10 is the gauntlet. It sucks. It hurts. And it absolutely improves the shit out of you. It makes your fingers work independently. It forces them to, and it forces them to for long enough that you start to remember that stuff. It will develop muscle memory very well. And it's only 10 minutes of your day. You do it every single day. I did that in my old 2-hour workout. So, yeah, good times. But that's that. The other one, and I've already spoken about this before, is this. Basically, pick a couple of fingers. Put your fingers, one finger per fret again, anchoring your index finger and your pinky so they don't go anywhere. And the only two fingers moving are these two. Between second, and they always stay on the same fret, of course, but you're basically moving them between from the G string, the B string, and the D string, so the next two adjacent ones. And if this becomes too easy, which is much harder to do, A string and E string, I can't really do it. But this one, I got it. But, guys with larger fingers out there, I'll bet you'll get the other one much easier than I've got it. So, but yeah, it's a real bear. But those exercises are like the best finger independence exercises I can think of. Tangentially to that would be like the John Petrucci, those guys. Or just playing through scale shapes and chords separately. Go ahead. Fine. Take your first finger out of the equation. So now the middle finger is your first finger. And it makes you see things in a whole different light. So, but it forces the issue, all right, I have to use these two fingers. What do I got? Let's play pentatonics with just these two. Oh, just these two, sorry. Just have fun with it. I mean, if Django can do it, we should be able to accommodate. Well, anyway, that's kind of what I have for that. Those are your finger independence exercises. There's other ones, of course. Technically, almost anything could be considered a finger independence exercise. That kind of thing. It works pretty well. You can do it in more than one place. Stu's heard me play that 1,000 times. But yeah. Hey, Dwight. But yes, sir. But that's exactly kind of where I'm going with this. Is that in order to make that happen, sometimes you actually have to force the issue, and that forces the issue. This forces the issue. Those things absolutely should be done. I'm actually going to clip that out of the live thing. I'm going to put that on not a short. That's definitely not a short, but I'll put that in its own section and just say, these are the exercises I would recommend for finger independence. And that's it, really. Besides, like I said, putting your finger behind the neck and playing everything you know how to play with just 3 fingers. That's fun. So we got the delays late. Playing strategically. So there was a couple of things I was working on earlier today. They all had to do with different variations of E minor and being slightly out of tune, but not enough that makes me want to change it. First inversion, second inversion. Technically a third inversion if we're playing 7th chords would be here, but I'm not playing 7th chords. I'm just playing your straight, root, 3rd, 5th triads, okay? But I was playing the triads and I was thinking to myself, diminished. And how to change around, what you're playing. And I was thinking to myself that something like this, that's good. That's nice. So we have diminished, F sharp and A, essentially. But there's a fun thing you can do with this, because if I'm here, it wants to go there, and there's another place that it wants to go, to its natural major. It resolves very nicely. But wait. Now that works, but you don't really see it coming. We could even do this. That would be nice too. So and that's E major, but it's the minor of E major, so it's off the 6th. And it's C sharp minor. And isn't that a lovely transition from E minor to C minor, or to C sharp minor? Now we could do the same type of thing by altering this just a little bit, because with the diminished you can really go anywhere. That works too, but that pulls you right back to here. So, which is the same. So you're going right off the 5th. Which is 1 note lower than we should go. And we could still go back to like a major right there, or even go to F if we want to. Why would we want to go to F? But we can. So you can use diminished in chromatic ways, like utilizing diminished as passing tones, for instance. But not even using it as a passing tone. Using it as literally an active tone, even though it is a passing tone. It's a pass to another key. It's a beautiful thing. But anyway, I was just messing around with that earlier this morning. And I thought, wow, I want to share that. So, a neat, convenient way of getting from like E minor to E major. Why not? Technically, that works anyway. So why can't we work it with a relative minor of that? And we can. What's up, kitty cat? Minor. You gotta minor that. Or C minor if you wanted. But no, I just thought that was pretty kind of neat. Yeah, that's that. I've got one more thing that I had to talk about tonight, and that has to do with economy picking. Another person, same person actually, asked me about if it's okay, pretty much a brand new player, to, when you're playing like 3-note per string scales, that you would start again on a downstroke with the next string. the answer is yes, but. And isn't that like the answer to everything? Yes, but. So if you're only playing on one string, you're pretty much locked into playing like real alternate picking. You can't just go down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down. You know, it's a weird gallop. You want an even, fast thing. It's going to be... You know, you're going to have to alternate pick on one string. Okay, so there's a caveat there. Well, what's another one? If you're given an exercise to do outside picking, that kind of thing. Yeah. Then that's what you should do, because we're working on developing different techniques that aren't inherently there. The thing about scalular runs that makes them a little different from this is there is a well-established community of economy picking players. Frank Gambale was kind of the, you know, he wasn't the first one to do it, but he was one of the ones that really brought it to the forefront to let people see what other people were doing, including Yngwie Malmsteen, who does a lot of economy picking, which is down, up, down, 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 down, up, down. So I didn't train that way. I got Frank Gambale's Monster Licks and Speed Picking, you can find it online, when I was 19. And I tried really hard to break my alternate picking that I had already developed at that time. Or, you know, that kind of thing. I tried really hard to break that and do this. I still have problems with it. You know, it's not comfortable for me. I'm an alternate picker, but I'm trying real hard to be the shepherd. You know, I'm trying really hard to do the thing, and for the last 4 years, it's been a real struggle. The thing is, I think that it comes down to the fact that man can't serve two masters, and if whatever way you train in, you know, raise yourself up, you know, raise the child by the rod and they shall not depart, or raise them up in the way to go and they shall not depart from it. So my advice would be is if it's natural to you to do this, you know, the economy picking thing, the jazz, you know, gypsy jazz picking thing, which is down, you know, down, pretty much down picking on every string change. Cannot do this, but I know people who are amazing at it. Then continue down that road, because that road is only going to offer you, you know, plenty. If, on the other hand, still not ignoring certain exercises and whatnot, or certain ways you have to play some things. If, on the other hand, you started with alternate picking, you know, really strict alternate picking, you know, downstroke to upstroke. Keep going on that one. Whatever comes more naturally to you, force the issue. Become what that'll allow you to be. And that's my stance on the issue. Because there are some strategic advantages to certain things. I mean, look at Steve Morse. He just fucking alternate picks. And Martin Miller, he alternate picks everything, and they're fantastic at it. Doesn't matter where they start. They just kind of continue on, and it's great. You know, John Petrucci, absolute alternate picking, you know, junkie, madness. Andy Wood, alternate picker, but can also do the, you know, the economy picking. Yngwie, alternate picks, but also economy picks. And when I say economy picks, I'm talking about, you know, what Frank Gambale considers sweep picking. So, you know, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 you know, pretty much down all the time. And then when you change directions, you know, even number of notes on the string. And then just, you know, start going up, down, up, up, and up, up, and up. That's how he does it, and he does a really good job. He cuts out 1/3 of his entire motion, and it's great. It can be done. But pick which master you're going to serve and serve that, because doing one and then trying to do the other, like I've been doing for the last 4 years and not succeeding, well, some minor successes, but I have to be playing really good that day to really pull it off. But if I can pull it off, I feel really good about it. But like I said, pick your poison. If you're going to do one, do it. If you're going to do the other one, do that. But pick it and keep doing it. Don't let anybody tell you you're absolutely wrong for doing either, but just know that there are some strategic advantages to doing each. Like getting across from one string or from one pattern to another. That economy stuff, arguably, man, that's where it's at. You know, these kind of shapes, this whole, and I can do that. That's far superior than alternate picking the whole thing. That's clumsy. This. That's far superior. It is a far superior technique. So when it comes to that kind of stuff, you know, go for that. For when it comes to just regular, you know, let me just. You know, when it comes to stuff like that, alternate's where it's at. So if you're into doing that, what I just did was strict alternate picking. I start with an upstroke and I just go nuts. Have fun. If you are not into doing stuff like that and you're into doing more like... Yeah, if you're into doing stuff like that, the economy picking may be more for you. But figure it out and pursue it. Pursue it like crazy. Figure out all the ins and outs of it. Every single thing that you can do with each of it. And... you know, that's, you know, this guy does it this way. I really like the way that guy sounds. Maybe I should pursue doing it that way, or maybe I shouldn't and should pursue it my way so I still sound different than other people. I mean, that's kind of important. Not a lot of people, I think, nowadays really know how important that is. I do have one other thing, though, topically speaking, that I did not write down. And this thing made me so freaking happy, and I want to share it with everyone. It made me so freaking happy. Like, incredibly, insanely happy. What in the world could make me start talking like that and gushing and gushing and gushing? Well, let me pull it up and not play it. Where the hell did it go? Oh, it better still be there. Ah, there it is. Rick Beato. Stop cheating with tabs. It's all about how ear training is important. What have I been saying this whole time? Thank you, Rick. You and your 4.86 million subscribers getting a nice earful of how tabs are actually not good for you. Fucking great. If you'll pardon my French. I was so happy to see this last night. I didn't even need to watch it. I saw it and I'm like, yes. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It'll make a whole huge, huge improvement on other guitar players if they actually start to learn by ear the things that they want to do. Because, you know, you got music in here. You know, whether or not you think you do, you do. You're going to hear a melody every once in a while. You're going to hum the melody. And you're going to be like, I wish I could play that. But I don't have a tab for it. It's a hindrance. It's a real hindrance. You know, you can only do, you know, what does that say? But you don't really hear it. Once you hear it and you're able to translate. I'm playing Lydian now. Saying I heard all of that, but most of it. But you can figure it out yourself. You can actually get the music that's inside your head out onto the guitar. It's beautiful, man. But you can't do that unless you train your ear. Otherwise, you're just kind of flying blind. You're not sure. I'm hearing a note. Nope. I'm really close, but I'm off pitch. So. All right, great. And so forth. But, you know, figure that shit out. And la, 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 la. And, you know, before you know it, you'll be scatting like, you know, Sean Lane. Like, I can't sing, so, but you get the general idea. Well, at any rate, that's that. But I was really, this is like, you know, my birthday a couple of months ago now, and that's almost like a birthday gift that he didn't know he gave me. I'm just really thrilled to see that he's bringing it to the mainstream. I'm more thrilled than you probably know. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be all screaming like, "Oh, tabs are the best," Yeah, fight with Songster. I did. It's fun. Oh, hey, how you doing, man? Ever hear a phone called Functional Ear Trainer? No, but I used to use something. Oh, shoot, I got a message here. Sorry about that. But I used to use something. Oh. I want you to have it. But I did love it. So, answering that question. Sorry, Stu. Didn't realize it was from you. But no, I used a thing online that helped develop your ear in probably a similar fashion, that it would give you a tone and you had to guess the note. I mean, after a while, you don't really have to guess. You just kind of know them. But the fun part about ear training to me isn't so much hearing a note and then being able to determine what note it is. It's more like in a language model where you hear somebody say the word, say the, and then you can repeat the word the. You don't think about the mechanics or the function of it. You can just repeat the word the, and that's that. So for me, doing that kind of thing is like hearing somebody say, "Hi, Stu," is like hearing somebody say this, and me just hearing it and going, and knowing that different, that's a whole step, that's a whole step, and being able to hear the relative pitches between it. So once I figure out the primary pitch, which I can usually guess pretty close, most of the time, where it's going to be on here, and I can just go ahead and repeat that to you. So I can see the notes, but I just kind of know where they are. So hearing intervals is where it's at. So, being able to discern whether or not you're hearing an octave, which that's easy, everybody. But, if you hear, I can tell that's a minor third being bent up slightly. So that's essentially going up a fifth by bending up from a note lower. And whereas the likelihood of that note being bent from, well, that's relatively a fourth from the note that you started on. I'm starting to sound like Andrew Latimer here. Very much like Andrew Latimer. If anybody's into Camel, or I should say it this way, if you haven't heard of Camel, go out and listen to Camel. But, start out with either Moon Madness or Mirage, or I would say Rajas. Either way, you're not going to lose. Those are some of the best material. Or listen to Drafted. That's a good, I wouldn't necessarily say that whole album is great, but the song certainly is. If you can find a live version, it's even better. But so this goes from basic to full-blown, changing keys and all the semitones randomly. Me? Nah. So Rick, a little bit. But the point I think that we're trying to make is that the ear development, the training your ear to hear intervals, to hear what different intervals sound like. Like, what's the difference between let me turn off my reverb. Actually, let me do that. And turn off the delay. I'll keep the reverb on. So, can you hear the difference between a minor third and a major third? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. But, for me, learning relative pitches, and the shapes that kind of go along with them, I think what that thing is training you to do, that's kind of the ticket. I mean, you can figure out relative pitch most of the time. Like, all right, that sounds like an E to me. Is it E? Yeah, it's E. Okay, good. So it's kind of like testing yourself. What is that? Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Well, it sounds like the word supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I'll bet I can say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious and use your ears to determine that you just heard the word supercalifragilisticexpialidocious also coming out of your mouth. So, or matching pitch with another person. Ah. Ah, okay, there it is. But it was an E. But don't worry about so much. How it actually is like. Ooh, it's you gotta know everything all the time. When you hear the pitch, it calls forth all of the relative things and everything. No. You just kind of do it as if it's like speech patterns. It's like you're learning a language, because that's what it is. It's a language. So, oh yeah, no, I'll bet when you start doing anything, it's a tough bet. When I first started doing the ear training myself, I thought it was just insane, but I was kind of blind, so I didn't have much of a choice. But I got better. Yeah. At any rate, the point about training your ears, thanks Rick, is a point of helping yourself do a few things. For one, you're removing a crutch that you shouldn't have necessarily had in the first place. Imagine yourself 20 years into riding a bicycle still using training wheels. That's what tabs are. And the training wheels are kind of hokey. They got chips in them. Some of them are bent. Really, half the time you're not, it's awful. And better. That's the better part. Picking out all the notes in a chord. Well, you can. That's the thing. It's just a matter of combining sounds. So, what... obvious ones are like major and minor. It's major. That sounds like the beginning of... because it's B flat, right? And B flat major, jumping jack flash. Yeah. But I learned the rest of it. No. Am I going to sit down and do it right now? No, I'm not a Stones fan, so... sorry. Fine, sure, whatever. But what was I going to say? As far as like chords are concerned... once you could start picking out individual differences between notes, like, all right, that's a 4. Well, that'll be a 7 on top, or excuse me, a 3. If this is a 1, 4, it's essentially, the second inversion of a major. But once you start picking out little things like that, you can start picking out those notes at random. Try this. This worked for me. Try it this way. So give me a second on your stuffs there. But if you can hear one difference, okay. This is our 7th chord. Sure. You got the 7th on top. You got a 3rd right there. And you got a 5th right there. You don't have to know necessarily that they're 5ths or a 3rd. It helps. Which is love. The sound is so great. But what you have to do is be able to hear each of those notes separately. And then you can figure out, okay, I got that. And where's that other note? Well, it's not quite right. Ah! So you can start doing things that way. But to me, it's just a matter of hearing each individual pitch in it and then trying to place it, in a context. So it's a little harder to do more complex chords. But there are some that are just easy, like that. That's just you get your 3 on top. It's a major, but it's got the 3rd, like I said, on the top. So it's second inversion type of stuff, right? So, but hearing that kind of stuff, easy for me. Once you get the sound of a diminished, it never goes out of style. You always know what the sound of the diminished is. Weirder ones like the minor 7 flat 5 are a little harder to memorize, but anyway, that's how I would go about it. So let's see what you got there, Bubba. So you play with a couple of guys that have pitch. Let's see. I can realize changes of a tune a lot faster than them. Okay. So I figure the fact that I'm not anchored to particular notes, but rather the distance between. Yes, sir. Absolutely. That's the whole point. Well summarized. So the whole thing is about relative pitch. Where you go from what. So if I'm playing an A major. Cat. And then suddenly it shifts to something crazy. With What the hell is that anyway? Who wants to play there? So we got a flat 5. We got a natural 7. The hell is that? Is that a 5? Flat 5, 5? Alright, so it would be a sus sharp 4. We got a, which is a natural 7. Yeah, fucking weird chord. But maybe I don't want to go there. Maybe I want to go to another minor key. That kind of thing. But so my thought is essentially that what you're hearing is just like a change in topic of conversation. I mean, this is all me. It's all, you know, I can't tell you what you think. But to me, drop my knife. But to me, music is literally just, and relative pitch is literally talking about like branching out on topics. It's to me exactly the same as just studying a language and being able to follow along with a conversation. So if we're changing topics to flowers that are dying, to nuclear physics, to more dead flowers, to more nuclear physics, maybe mysterious nuclear physics, to you know, whatever. I mean, it's incumbent upon me to be able to follow along. It's like I said, just changing the thing to me is just like changing topics. That's it. But that's the way I see it. It doesn't mean you have to see it the same way. You got to figure out the way you see it and then see it that way and then be able to continue on. So I'll tell you a few things that I'm really not good at. Remembering things. I'm terrible at that. I like... And this is kind of a trap of mine. You can do more 7s at that point. But my thing about that, altered chords, minor majors that is, it's a lovely sound, but is moving around, you know, the jazz thing. Because I can hear it in my head, and I can go, yeah, and I get it. You know, I like listening to this stuff. But when it comes to actually playing it, doesn't matter swing, doesn't matter, you know, the authenticity is what matters to me. And I can hear it, and I can even play some of the licks of it, and I'll be like, yeah, that doesn't sound right, you know? No, I like to have Rick up there so everybody can look at him. Let's see if we can get a good expression of him. There we go. Now he looks like he's concerned about what I'm playing. So. Oh no! That's better. Definitely a concern. Let's see here. Now he's not concerned at all. He's okay. He's over it. Hold on. Let's try one more. Yeah, still over it. There he goes. Now he's trying to play what I'm playing. He can't figure it out. Ear training. So. All right. So I'll get rid of Rick. You're welcome. And anybody have any questions? Best I can do on the jazz front is like kind of smooth jazz runs. And I think that's kind of cheating because, you know, most smooth jazz is just really kind of a simple... you know, always kind of going up from a passing tone. That whole thing with you know, that kind of thing. It's so, you know, kind of overplayed and George Benson-esque in some cases. Or doing the whole, you know. You know, just kind of scatting around like that, doing that stuff. But I mean, that's just kind of obvious. I like it, but it's still, it doesn't change the fact that it's obvious. But yeah, any questions regarding you know, what I was just talking about? I still say things like everybody should work on trying to find creative ways of adding diminished stuff to their stuffs. Go up instead of minor third, go up a whole step. Already, it kind of sounds wrong, but it's diminished, so it's still kind of okay. Besides, you can wrangle diminished to fit really, really closely into things like, you know, whole tone, which is kind of neat. And then just last week, you know, we were talking about the, what is that, altered scale? Augmented scale. That's it. Changed keys already, but this still at home. Some are more perfect than others. You know, but just grab a diminished chord wherever you find it. Have fun with it, or a half diminished chord if you really wanted to have, you know, a weirder time with it, sound a little more jazzy. Yeah, but it's all seventh chords, you know. And then, you know, minor here on the sixth. Type of thing. Yeah, it's all like that. And then, you know, what is it? Yeah, but you know, play all you want in there. Anyway, but that's it. It's almost always in a major key. But you know, that's the thing about seventh chords, is that they're major keys that are actually, you know, very kind of weird plays on minor chords. Because you know what's 1/3 up from a major here. Major third is minor, you know, Phrygian. But really, you're taking this Phrygian chord, putting a G here. If you never thought about it before, that's what you're doing. That's a seventh chord. There's your root 7. What the hell is that? B. So that's your major third. There is a D there. I guess that's a 7. Sorry. Yes, major 7. 7 on minor. Yeah. Well, at any rate, D, which would be your 5th. You know, and so forth. But yeah, it's kind of like A minor, F, yeah. Still an F major 7. So that's the thing. I really don't. I think a lot of slash chords can be boiled down to what they actually are. Man, this chord naming thing. This one actually. That's probably a good one to talk about. I don't like overcomplicated names of chords because I think that they are misleading. So if I did, you know, D, for instance, here, everybody knows D. She gets around. Her name is D. And then I put a C on the base of it. Well, I don't have to finger it that way necessarily, but I did. What would you call that chord? Slash chord. D with a C in the bass. It's easy. We could, on the other hand, say that this is a D, this is a second, so it's a sus. The next one is an A. Well, what's that going to be in comparison to it? Well, that's going to be a 6. So D, C sus 2, 6th. What the hell's that to it? There's that 2 again. All right, and now we got an F sharp. What the hell's F sharp to that? But you see what I'm saying though is, well, you can call it all sorts of things, and people will be like, wow, that's really cool. But what the hell is it really? It's C with this. It's D with a C in the bass. Everybody will know that. You don't have to be all crazy experimental, but you can explain things away in other ways. But it just overcomplicates the matter. I think simplicity is kind of king and rules a lot of things out. However, a 7th chord is a 7th chord. So online chord finder only works sometimes. Like if you look at this one. How many chords can you come up with name-wise for this? Is this rooted in E, or is this rooted in F sharp and omits the E? Is this actually a C4? There's their 6 again. With a 7 thrown in, flat 7, and I guess that would be a third. Yes, that would be a minor third. It's one of the best chords in the world. So it's an extremely Lydian chord, E Lydian. So watch this. Get this and try to see if I can make it sing. Got to turn that up. So we've got that hanging out in the background. Jazz educated, undergrad theory, composition in Massachusetts. Gee, Monique, goddamn Christmas. Right on, man. Analysis paralysis problem with moving one's playing and understanding forward. Yeah, cool, man. So, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm glad to hear it. And I'm not the only one. Just call a spade. Not my fault. Just, you don't have to overdo it, for God's sakes. But you can get lost forever doing that. All right, so we've got this chord. What's the root? Is it E? Is it C sharp? What are you playing over? That's what really matters here. What's the tonal center? And then you can start building the chord name out of that, But first of all, you got to know. I mean, if we're only doing that as a root, you can call it whatever you want and play whatever you want over the top. For me, it's E Lydian. It outlines the chord very nicely. You're going to get your flat 5 in there. It's right there. You've got a 6th, and you've got a sus 2. That's pretty much it. You've got everything else covered, and it's really nice. It's easy that way. So, but what would you call it? Would you call it an add 6? Would you call it an E sus 2 add 6? I don't know. What would you want to call it? There's so many different things, so many different names. What's the easiest one? Pick that. Call it good. So in the tonal center, I'm going to call it Lydian. Because it really outlines Lydian extremely well. It basically calls itself a major thing. The only thing you don't have it in there really is a major third. But even with the sus that's in there, it outlines it extremely nicely. So, dude, sus chords are great. They're not quite major, they're not quite minor. They're kind of suspended, you know. You don't know. The suspense is killing me. Is this major or minor? I don't know. But we still want to resolve with them. It's a beautiful thing. Let me turn down my reverb a little bit. Sorry about that. The Slatva is great, but it can be overwhelming. So, yeah, that's nice. So let's turn that off. Asus, yeah, that's also a great brand of motherboard. I like them. They're very good. And MSI, that's really cool as well. Yes, that's a joke. So, but you know, dude, I gotta say, it's definitely not the holiest chord. That's Jesus. Please don't unsubscribe. But my theory is down though. My absolute theory is down. Is this what can you make of F sus2? Yeah, I've always been suspicious of F as well. So, but my theory is sound though. Is calling it like you see it. If you see a chord that's essentially, you know, like going like so. What would you call this? Well, seriously, it's a D7. Okay. Adding that, you're just adding the fifth again. I wouldn't change the fact that it's a seventh chord just because you threw in an extra thing. You want to go, all right, well, that's a sus4. And what am I adding? I'm adding a third, but you can't have a sus if you have a third. So that 4 is going to change the nature of it a little. Excuse me, the fifth, but sus4 there is, you know what I mean. Is going to change the nature of that just a wee little bit. So you now have a major third, and that makes it, instead of a sus4, that makes it an 11. So simple as that. Well, thanks for laughing. My jokes are crap, but I appreciate you. So second invert, you could call it that, but it's not completely true. Because all you're doing with, you know, inverting chords, you're taking a basic, let's talk triads. Triads are easy. And you're playing with what the next shape is basically off of here. And then the next shape based off of there, but we're going to move them forward positionally speaking. All right, great. Now we're going to have a E, G, C. So E, G, C. Simple as that. Then the next one, we're going to have a G, C, E. And then you just kind of wash, rinse, and repeat. So you're literally changing the order of the notes when you do the inversions. So that's, you know, I know you know that. What is 110333? Your mom's weight. Sorry. Or 110033. Right? What's the tonal center? So we're going, I'm assuming we're going this way. Or something like that. Oh, that's a very lovely chord. And you are omitting your third, so that is a sus4. There's your fifth. And you're repeating your 4 there. And you're putting an F in, so that's a minor 7. So that's that. It's not minor or major, it's sus. So, never there. So, yeah, that's a nice chord. That's a really, really lovely one. But there's no third present in that. So, you could, on the other hand, call this a C, and you would still be suspending a 2. There's your fifth. There's your C again. All right, but what is that in comparison? That's the fifth. And then you're adding the fifth again. So, you know, either way, no, it's pretty as all get out. So, yeah, no, I was just playing with y'all about the mom thing, but sixths. Another lovely chord that fits well with this. 9, of course. Why is it a 9? Even if there's a third in it? You know, well, that's because there's a third in it is why it's a 9. No third is your suspension. So if we omitted the third completely, now it's a sus2. So, good stuff. Or you could say add 9. string number backwards. Yeah, I was going to say, this is great. If you were doing it the other way, well, that's a nice, interesting sounding chord too. Sounds almost like something the Clash would do. I don't listen to them, and there's a reason for that. So we would have an F, sus4 so far. We've got a 6 on top of that. Is that a 6? Yes, it is. We have a 6 on top of that. The G would be a 2, so it's a sus2, sus4. Those exist, no problem. What would the D be for that? Well, that's just a repeat of your 6. So, and then the G again. So you're repeating 2 notes. You can essentially call those gone because they're just octaves, they're repeats. And what do we have here? We have a 1. There's no third. sus4. 6. So we would have an F6, sus4, sus2, sus4. That's probably the way it would be spelled. So resolve a C to an E. That doesn't want to resolve there. That wants to resolve here. So if you were to do this, I would suggest doing this. What's a good relative of that? And that works just fine for me. I'm not being pulled somewhere else, but you can go somewhere else. Let's take that to major instead. So done. Just diminished substitutions. Perfect. Approximately how many hours a day can someone play at least half as fast as you run those scales? I don't know. I used to be half as fast as me. But I think it's very funny. I could try to, say that again. Kind of a strange question, but I'll use my radio voice. Kind of a strange question. That's not really my radio voice, but I'm going to do it anyway. My ridiculous announcer voice. Kind of a strange question, but approximately how many hours per day for a year can someone play at least half the notes as fast? Yeah, half as fast as you. Yeah, at least half as fast as you run those scales. Yes. Forget it. Yeah, that was a weird way of phrasing it. I couldn't even keep up. Yeah, like I said, I used to play half as fast, so I don't know, as many hours as it took. But it's kind of irrelevant. Melody's where it's at. I know it sounds weird for me to say that, but it's because I already have the other thing. So what do you work on? The stuff that interests you. What do you work on? Should probably just use the tuner behind me. And I probably should not. Oh my God, I keep forgetting. So the Slotva, my reverb, has a modulated delay. So I'm hearing notes going, ah. You probably are too. Let me just use the tuner. Oh, I was close. Okay. Thank you, tuner. Best tuner in the world, $25. Mono price. Get yours today. I should say affiliate links down below. Just trying to learn. You can only do 16th notes at 70 beats per minute. Well, that's pretty fast. That's like, 4 notes per beat, All right, so here we go. Let's, how long have you been playing? Give me a rough time estimate. And do you have alternate picking to where you can play tuning wet? Yeah, dude. I never used to play with modulation on anything at all, ever. And so I never had a problem tuning live. I never did. I could hear the note and go, yeah, that's it. All right. And then go from there. And everything's cool. I just started playing with modulated, like, reverb a week ago. So I'm not used to this. So, yeah. So. Oh, this is an Ibanez. So are you looking at the white one, the black one, or the pink one, or the green one? Oops. All right, okay. So here's the first thing I would... Maybe what I would start concentrating on is a couple of things. So, how fast can you pick on a single string? I was once told that the limit is... Oh, yeah, I still got them. Not a single one have sold. So, I mean, if you live close by and you want to buy it, it's all yours. I will sell it to you. I'll be happy to. I don't mean I'd give it to you. I'd sell it to you. But I would be happy to sell it to you. I'm just not shipping. So for 2 hours a day, strict alternate picking. Okay, so we're going to break that up a little bit into like 5 or 10 minute segments at a time. Much like the exercise I was doing earlier for finger independence, the 10, and so forth. I would concentrate on finding out what your maximum speed is. And there's a couple of things I want to say about that, actually. So you don't know what your maximum speed is until you get there. Most of the time, and this is just comfortable, most of the time when you're playing on a single string, you can find out what your speed limit is by finding out what your speed limit is on that single string. And single string, probably 80, 85 beats a minute. Okay, so I don't even want you to play with a metronome for this. I eventually will want you to get that metronome back up and to figure out, your beats per minute on this. But I'm literally talking about just sitting there and doing this and not think about it. There's a couple of things you need to know about human physiology that I think we all take for granted, and mental blocks. If I'm training to run, I'm gonna not think about what it's like to walk at the running speed. Do you pick up what I'm saying? Okay, so good, play comfortably. But this is what I'm saying here is that your posture changes naturally from a walk to a jog to a run to a full sprint. You're not walking when you're running. You know what I mean? If I said that I can, Usain Bolt runs at 27 miles per hour, but it just looks like he's walking, really, really fast. At some point, your legs are actually going to break if you do that because they're not built to withstand those kind of forces for that kind of movement. You will naturally change. And you don't even think about it. The first time you ran, did you think about the mechanics of running? Yeah. So the mechanics of running is like the natural progression of picking. The difference is you can't force yourself to play faster than you can play until you've learned how to relax and kind of get it out of your mind. Because what you're doing with right now, like the 80 beats a minute, 90 beats a minute, doing whatever picking exercises you're doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever ones you're doing, you're doing it to a beat, but you're locking yourself into that position. In other words, you're only learning how to walk between one speed and another. To do the next step naturally, you have to kind of forget that you're doing it. This is why I'm saying put the metronome away. Right. So you have to kind of put the metronome away and just kind of play along with something that you like. Like in my case, it was a lot like what is his name, Jeff Waters from Annihilator, back in the day, listening to Slayer. Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah. Oh no, I had my tone down. Sorry. So that's where I got my alternate picking from. I was playing along with like I was trying to play along with like Slayer and stuff, but I didn't start there. I started with Maiden. I wasn't even able to do that for like a year, for 2 years maybe. But so that's the thing. You'll naturally do. Think about this. You need to not be conscious of how you're doing it. It's like, if you ever seen the TV show or the cartoon Invincible, they talk about how to relax while you're flying. It's like peeing your pants on purpose. This is like peeing your pants on purpose. You're trying to literally not pay attention to something that you're paying attention to natively. And so just like I'm doing right, I'm peeing my pants on purpose. That's exactly correct. So let me turn off the crazy ass thing that I've got going here. All right. Actually, let me go ahead and do this. It's a little lower, but I think we'll survive. This whole thing, this is a little thicker than that. This is a 1.2 or a 1.4 Dunlop Primetone Jazz 3. But it doesn't matter. Let me illustrate that. I think sometimes people need to be reminded of this because pick preference, I'm going to take that off, is just a matter of personal taste. And I use different picks for different purposes. And I'm going to illustrate that really quickly and remind everyone that sometimes it doesn't matter as much as you think that it does. It's to find one that's comfortable for you. Now, I can recommend a thicker pick. Sorry, I'm talking so close to the microphone. Where the heck is my 0.5? There it is. So here's a 0.5. Tiny, thin, super thin pick. Just fine. So I can do it with a thin pick. Here's an 8mm pick. Did you get that? Let's alter it, make it happen. It's the happy black magic. But so as far as this is concerned, this is a lot easier to 8mm. It's a jazz pick, but it's it glides very, very easily through the strings. I think I was mentioning I was mentioning either last week or the week beforehand that I don't really like to use this one a lot because it chirps. I don't like the chirp. That sucks. It adds too much overtones to what I'm doing. I don't like that. Who would? What the hell is wrong with me? That's terrible. So yeah, 8mm. Fastest is 4.2. Yeah, well, you see, this by the way is one of those like Wiegans. So yeah. Well, I've got a 3mm right here, Dunlop. Once again, 0.5. So, here's an 8, 0.8. Here's here's me needing reading glasses, 0.6. .4 Jazz 3. So here's some things that I could tell you. If you're playing really thick strings, if you're playing like 10s or 11s, let's say 11s specifically, use the thicker strings or use the thicker pick. If you're using 9s, if you're using 8s, use a thinner pick. Generally, why the thinner pick on 8s or 9s? That's what I believe one of these, plectrums are. This is a Dunlop Primetone Jazz 3. Probably my favorite pick of all time. It's just really comfortable for me. It's not too much. It just works. So what I was mentioning though is that the lighter the string, because a lighter string is going to move more. A lighter pick is going to move more too. So if you're playing a light string with a light, it's a nice marriage. A light string with a light pick is a good marriage. A string that doesn't move a lot will allow you to move faster on it with something that especially doesn't move a lot either. So if you're using 11s, I used 11s for like 10 years. I love 11s. That's what I learned to play fast on, really fast on. So it's the only pick you steal from Miracles Grease. Perfect. Dunlop Flow Gloss. Cool. Very cool. This is a Dunlop Flow, by the way. I've got another one over. Well, I had another one over here. There it is. In prime tone. These are 0.8s though. The 8s are nice. They're a good marriage. 0.8 that is. So, and we all have our tropes, you know, we kind of fall into these particular licks that, you know, the things that we do as a demo, like that whole, that kind of thing. I do that a lot. You may have noticed. But my suggestion is to, once you find a pick that you're comfortable with, keep it up. Try out new ones. You know, try out a bunch of them. If you go to Elderly Instruments, that's elderly.com. They have a shitload of picks that you've probably never seen before. And I would, in my personal opinion, what I would do if I were you is like buy one a month. Get a set of strings to go along with it. They've got some neat stuff. And just start trying out different things. Find one that you really like. I've been playing Jim Dunlop Jazz 3s, though, on the regular. Still, again, favorite pick since I was 18. So I found my favorite pick 4 years in. But I actually found the shape of it because I used to use the Tortex Jazz. I didn't know about the nylon Jazz. And I certainly didn't know about the difference between the red one and the black one. Black one being perfect, the red one's being like, I'm going to slip out of your fingers at any chance I get, you know. So let's see. The gloss flow, middle carved out, guessing around 0.7 in the middle. Yeah. So okay. My opinion about grips for picks, I think it's not a scam. I think it's distracting from the pick. So what I don't like about the Wiegand, for instance, is the carve out that makes it about 5 millimeters in the center because it forces you to play right there. And I think any pick that puts you in a spot to play is a problem because look at this. If I can move here, I got stuff in front of my chair. Nope. Oh, there it is. There it is. All right. So this is a comedy show. Did you know? So this, I'm going to use this as an example, something nice. And, you know, here's the Jazz 3 black one. Jazz 3. Most things, you know, imprints for the player to help keep him, you know, keep a hold of it, a grip, are back here, leaving a huge amount of space, you know, for the player to, I mean, most people I see don't, I mean, they play with stuff way out here. No. There's no control that way. Okay, so if I just picked up a pick and I start playing it, that's where it's at. This is barely visible. I can't do that. This is barely visible outside of it's probably sticking out 2 millimeters from my thumb. Okay? So that gives me total control over what the pick itself is doing. The tip of the pick. I can do harmonics very easily that way. I don't have to play harmonics if I don't want to. And I can do things with my wrist. I can do things with my fingers. You know, the thumb and forefinger movement. I can do what I want. That's the point of it. That's the point of the jazz pick, too. So, yeah. So, oh yeah, it totally affects the pinch harmonic. Now, if you're holding that way the hell out here, you're affecting it with this part of your knuckle now. You can still do it, but it's a weird thing. You should just touch right there. It'll be fine. You should be able to find them anywhere, too. You're sounding like Billy Gibbons pretty soon. But yeah, it's fun. So that's the thing. Hold it closer. I don't know where you're holding it, but I'm going to use a larger pick to demonstrate, like this 0.5 right here. If you're holding it out like so, you know, where it's way out, you know, I think you're holding it wrong. Push that in. Caress it a little bit more. You could use, you know, this grip if you want. That's fine. Yeah, but, you know, certain grips are more conducive to certain things. This will lock it in place, you know. This, you know, that's flat finger there. This kind of lets you move around a little bit more, you know, using the knuckles, joints, you know, as such. You know, you can do the 2-finger, you know, James Hetfield - Van Halen approach. Yeah, it's harder to do that way, though. You're just locking it around and doing that. But Sorry. So, well, we all do. I mean, if you've only been playing around 6 months or so, man, I'm not expecting you to. Okay, so the first song I could sort of kind of play. Let me take you through Kirk's playing experience because everybody wants to know Kirk's playing experience. 1 year after picking up a guitar, I could play a song. A year, and that was Iron Maiden. How did that go? I don't remember it. That's it. Not a whole lot of picking in that. Actually, D. Man, I gotta remember this. It is that. Something like that. Anyway, heaven can wait. But I had it down. I had it at 15 years old. I could play that. And it took that long to be able to play that. Also, 1 year into playing, I was able to play. 1 year anniversary, I was finally able to play this. So what I'm telling you, though, is it takes time. I could work on little things before then, you know, like, what is it? Everything is distorted. Ah. You know, that kind of stuff. But I can only do little things here and there. My point is to just keep working, trust the process, and follow and do, and you will improve. Keep going. So, lower strings, you accidentally mute the strings. Well, you know, it's good to know if you're accidentally doing it or doing it on purpose. Let's see. You need to learn how to hold the pick proper. So I've already given you the pick advice. No, dude, Bubba, it's good. It's good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping in. So, let's see. So when I said 6 months from now, you want to play, but then as far as long as I've been playing proper, yes, just basically starting. Okay. I'm old, but never did practice. But that's fine. I'm old too, but I did. So here's the difference. Today is the day you start. The hammer and pull-off exercise I talked about, yes, you're going to want to do that. As far as doing this, let's talk about that. This one string. And I want you to think about the tension leaving your arm. All the tension's gone. You're not tensing up. You're not trying to do this any faster than you can do it. And I want you to start changing the angle that the pick lives on. So you're doing it this way, one way. I want you to angle it down just a little bit more. You might have to move it up in your thumb just a little to do that. But, all right, you're here. Now angle it down a little. Just kind of bring in your fingers. Like that. And see if while you're relaxed, you might be able to go just a little faster. Maybe combine movements. You're moving your wrist, you're moving your fingers just a little bit. Now move your arm also just a little bit to give it just a little extra go. Now try moving it downward like this while you're playing. So arc downwards like so. All while you're kind of angling the pick down like so by bringing your fingers in. Now do the same way the other way. Just relaxing through the motions. And for me, that's where it lives. Yeah, you just gotta, push that pick in a little bit farther. I'm just used to it. I also use really small picks most of the time too. So that's my home base. And let's say, like I said, just kind of start moving it around, seeing where that speed little point lives. Maybe bring your guitar up a little bit more. Start working on things that are interesting melodies, like... or don't mute, or mute, whatever. You know, that kind of thing. More. You know, make it happy. Happier. Do what you want, but enjoy it. But that's the whole thing. You know, start moving it around, trying to find that spot. But once you find a spot that's like, oh, it's a little unusually fast, I like that. But for me, like I said, it's kind of cocked up a little bit like so, and pointed down, you know, that pick angle. Just kind of sit there, you know, watch ER, do your thing, you know, whatever it is that you do. For me, it's, you know, documentaries, YouTube. And just keep doing that motion. And eventually, your muscles will say, okay, I got you. And maybe put the click on. 3. The point is to always keep it. You know, always consistent with the beat. But here's a trick too. So you go like 80 to 100 doing one string like that. Cool. But you think you've reached your peak. Jump to 120. Try to keep up. Then go back to 105. I bet you can play it. It's a mental trick. It's a good one. But it shows you, like, I can't possibly do that. 105 seems a lot slower than 120 once you've tried it. So if you're just doing scales, like, or, you know, chromatic exercises. That kind of thing, really good exercise, by the way. It gets you used to doing even note groupings on a string, so you can mess around with that and do odd note groupings. You know, and you know that'll help with that. But let's see, I've been trying out Def Leppard, Let It Go. It's interesting to maintain alternate picking. Well, you need to let it go. Let's see. I'll be practicing what I'm showing you every day too. Good, man. Very cool. So on the alternate picking thing here, this is 4 notes per beat. This is to be playing, you know, 16th notes. That's essentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Both your fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fret numbers on the B string and the E string, shifting up to 5 and using that as a starting point to go 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1 on 5, 4, 3, 2. And then shifting up with your index finger and doing the same thing again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 on 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then on and on. And the point to that is to be able to play that with like rhythmic accuracy, okay? Oh, good, excellent. So, but do they also tell you that you want to accent the 1? So every time you're playing this, you're accenting your 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, you know, every time. Whack, 2, you know. It's essential. I'm going to break the 1, 1, 1, 1 down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if you can hear that. Let's try that. I can't even keep up with myself. Nope, I'm out. But yeah, so this 4 notes. The accent's extremely important because it keeps you in time. And so if you're playing along with a metronome, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Always accent on the 1. Now, you can get really tricky with it once you get more advanced and like put your accent on 3, which is like, all right, what the... And It's just a matter of hitting the string a little harder, or instead of hitting harder, dig in a little bit further. So that's an interesting trick too. So most of the time with the pick, by the way, stylus pick, I use this at least once a week, but I used to use this continually. Keeps you playing in the right spot all the time, just on the tip. Very good. You should look it up, STYLUS, just like, you know, on a record player. And use it. That will make you faster, I guarantee it, because it makes you more accurate. And accuracy always makes you faster. So one of the reasons why you want to accent on the 1 is you're working on your timing and doing this, and you're working on your accuracy doing this. Dynamic playing for this is essentially, though, playing is with kind of a very light touch. Let me go back to clean. There we go. It's a very clean. So, the accuracy thing. If you're tapping your foot, that's essentially what you're doing there. It's 4 notes per beat. You got your 16th notes going there. If you want to go really nuts, do 8 notes per beat. 30-second notes. I mean, come on. You can do it if you want to, but I'm not going to necessarily recommend it. But why you're doing that, though, is you're building accuracy. If you push in harder, or not push in harder, like hitting the string harder with more force, that's not really going to give you a louder sound. I basically just kind of grip in a little bit, and the pick is a little looser in my hand the rest of the time. A little more thumb. Another way you can do it is to press in towards your guitar body. Lighter, necessarily heavier. You have to use more force to get through, so just pushing in kind of helps as well. Oh, stylus. STYLUS. Stop. Not a stylist, a stylus. So that was a tool like developed by Berkeley guys. Not the wacko West Coast one, but the one back east. That's a joke. Anyway, so yeah, that's good. Yeah, I've been playing about 6 months. At least. Well, I don't recommend doing a 2 or 3 note beat per minute increase because you're working with frustration. The Steve Morse method is anything that you can play exactly perfectly 10 times in a row, you can go ahead and start moving up in speed. 5 beats a minute to 8 beats a minute would be fine. If you really wanted to go 10, you can do it that way too. But I think 5 beats a minute beats 1 or 2 beats per minute because, you know, that's very, very small increments. And if you can do a 1 or 2 beat per minute increase or 2 or 3 beat per minute increase, you can do a 5 as well. There's really not that much of a difference. So why don't you try leapfrogging? Let's jump up 10 beats per minute. So let's start at 70 beats per minute and then jump up to 80 beats per minute, then jump back to 75, then jump up to 85, and then back down to 80, and then back up to 90, and then back down to 85. See what I mean? So you're leapfrogging to make the one that would be harder normally, like a natural progression, it'll be a little harder for you because it's going to freak you out a little bit too. It's going to break barriers simply because, you know, like I said, there's a neat trick to that mentally that, you playing properly, statistics, starting over, learn the correct way. I've been playing incorrectly for years and years. How incorrectly? Were you holding the pick like, you know, with your pinky and were you playing upside down? What the hell? You know, is that what you were doing? Or, you know, I can't wait to find out how incorrect. I was holding the pick between these 2 knuckles. Actually hurts the knuckle. I mean, how would you do that? I have no idea how you were playing wrong. Oh, wait, you were holding your pick like this. That was it. That was it. And you had to use this hand for your support because you didn't have a strap. Hard to play arpeggios that way, but... That's it. Let's who remembers that jingle? So yeah, but there's some ear training that I want you to do that's outside of your book, and that's to try to pick out some melodies from like TV shows. So if you're sitting there watching the tube, and some jingle comes on, or so you're watching Mr. Ed. Yeah. Just start figuring that out. That kind of thing. So by incorrect, you mean not being able to alternate pick quite correctly and not following any pro guidance whatsoever, not learning others. So are you aware of my video that says self-taught is a self-own? This is I'm gonna say this is gonna be a controversial statement, but I'm gonna put on my cat hat and I'm gonna say it. Whenever I hear somebody say I'm self-taught, I hear I'm a single mom. All it is like you're leveraging an excuse to excuse your behavior. I'm a single mom, so, and you always hear that. It's your delimiting factor. It's something that somebody says as a modifier to whatever I do is always in the right. It's a badge of honor. Single mom to me is the same. So, yeah, it's go ahead and find somebody to play with, a teacher. I'd be happy to, help you out as much as I can. You should subscribe to me on the pay thing. So, if you do, you get private lessons, just little ones. It's called mini lessons a week, but I give you things that are kind of targeted towards you, and it's like a 10-minute video clip. It's all by yourself. It's $5 a month. Yeah. So I am not a good self-salesman. I am not, but I have that there for a reason. So yeah. Okay, so Caged is a funny thing. I don't recommend Caged, but it does help a lot of people. It was developed by Berklee to get people playing notes quickly and fast, so I really don't have a problem with it per se, but I don't think it gives you a holistic view of music. So it literally puts you in a cage, because it's really hard to break out of the caged box. So once you put yourself in there, be aware that you're in there, and try to break free from it. Because to me, looking at music in a couple of different other ways, the chunk of scale shape and the things that'll go with that, are good to a point, because it gives you chord tones, and chord tones will get you. It'll get you moving, but it will. But yeah, so yeah, break the cage. So start looking up patterns of 3-note per string scales and try to connect them with other chords. So 3-note per string scales actually will help you, well, not necessarily see the chords better, because sometimes, like the old major shape, I can play it anywhere, but let's play it here. Wait a minute. Okay. Ah! It lets you see something. It's basically a G, but played here. Yeah. That's not easy to do, by the way. Playing basically an open G chord as an A or anything else. But you can do it. But that it helps you see that kind of thing. Kind of does help you see it. I get that. I personally see things better when I connect dots linearly. Okay? Every other note. Okay? Stop there. First, third, fifth, seven. I just spelled a major 7 chord. Let's see if I can find other places to put that. What's an octave of this? Okay, where's that? Right there, okay. So you see how I figured that out? 1 octave away, right there. Doing the whole, I can tune a guitar. You know, use that. You know, you can figure stuff out like that, so. Right, so this, every other note. What's another way of playing that? Where's this here? Great, let's play that an octave higher. Each note has an octave. Now I've just extended that arpeggio by 1 octave. If I wanted to do it sevenths, do I start there? I can, because that's the 7th of the scale. 1 octave down is how to find the notes, right? So I'm still doing this. I'm just adding the 7th now. I don't know where I am. Let me add the octave with another hand, right? That's fun. But this, it's actually, I think, kind of, you know, something you can work on. That's another way of doing it. Just hammer on pull off. 4, 7, 12. Play that again. Open. And just kind of do that. Maybe a 7th. Minor to major. Add a 9, it's always pretty. No, it's not. That's the fun thing, is it's less above you than you think that it is. When you're playing scales, and I'm sure part of your book has some scales in it, I want you to start finding notes, where those notes live in other places. And there's a great way of figuring that out, is octaves, where the same note is, and your basic octave shapes are as follows. It's like a power chord, but skip a string. Okay? That's going to be a little different, and so is this. The next one, type of octave, is played this way. So, right there, A, D, and then those change in shape a little bit. This is a little bit farther away. Oh, excuse me, that's closer, that's closer. So once you get your octaves down, where your octaves are, I mean, the kind of like, all right, so if I'm on the low E string, I can play an octave here or here. Once you get down where those live, you're halfway there. The other way is that where things live like this. This B is this B is this B. There's B, 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 B. Now you have to go down a little bit. There's a B. But that, every note is either 4 or 5 frets away from another note on the next string up or down. So if I'm here, if I want to play that here, Okay, what about here? You got to figure that out. You know, what's the relationship? And it takes a while. Okay. And you'll know all of those are C's. And you can start doing things like this. For no reason. Or... Wait a minute. Oh, sorry. Or nothing like this. And then, you know, for no reason whatsoever. But you can do it. You know, whatever you want to do, you can do it. But that's the whole point about finding where all those notes live in relation. Because if this pattern, that's where I'm going with it. If this pattern exists on one string, one octave higher, it's going to be the same pattern, and it will fit perfectly with whatever you're doing. Same notes. One octave higher. It's going to do it again. One octave higher. All those notes, you know now, belong in A major. Likewise, the next string. Okay. That. Same pattern. Sorry. Anyway, but that. Then here. You know, those are all there. And you can go back likewise. All right, so what's this? Sure, but that just means this is right there, and then this. All right, that's there, and then, you know, that's how you kind of locate them. But you know, it may not just fall to you that easily. You do have to do the book work first. But once you get that kind of figured out, it's like, oh, what am I doing here? Where's this? Okay, there. It's the same. You know, that's half the fun of it. Just going like, oh, discovery! I can do this here, and I can do this here, I can do that here. And it all fits. It's all in the same key. So, sorry, yes, octaves. When you get to the B string, tuned differently. Yeah, it is. But if you'll remember this, you do this here. If you do that, that's great because you're just playing a seventh shape, and people will think, yeah, cool. You can do something creative with it, right? Let's turn that into a minor major chord. Oh dear, how am I going to do that? So yeah, bit altered on that one. So anyway, not so minor major, but altered. So let's see. Brain goes to mush. Simply need to have faith in the book that you're going through, and you really need to work these next. Yes, a couple of years, and you'll see improvement in less time than that. But you know, it's almost like, you know, losing weight and then looking in a mirror, or like what I did. You know, I'm on carnivore for a month now, and suddenly, even though I haven't lost any weight, I can fit into shirts that I haven't worn in 4 years. Go figure. So 0 1 2 3 0. No. 0 1 2 3 0 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. I would much prefer you do it that way. Or are you talking like 0? Which is cool as hell, by the way. So, oh yeah. I mean, if you really want to have some crazy, somewhere between, it's like Spanish noir. Yeah. Yeah, 7th. As a chord, you mean? Yeah, okay. That is an F7, but you have an A on the bass there, and it's just repeated there. But so essentially, you'd be playing it almost like a kind of a third inversion, but it's not. So first inversion. I would call that an F7 over A. Move to the 3rd fret. All right, so now we've got some interesting tonalities, because right there is you know, this is a 6. That's a 7. So it's a flat 7. And 2. It's flat 7, 2. Out of tune a little bit. So, and what would that be? So that would be your 5 for the D. Essentially, of course, you're making a D triad there with an A in the bass. I'm trying to figure out what it would be there. It is flat 7, 2. What would that be there? 4. So much like this chord here, what we were talking about, what's a sus and what's all that kind of stuff. Again, you explain everything away like crazy. And then, of course, you get that in there. And that would just be your 4 repeated. So, but at any rate, again, I would just suggest this is a G over A. It's a slash chord. So 7. But this now, if you include that higher note, that's going to add something to the mix. So if this is a G, what's an E to a G? So if you're playing, you are literally adding fuel to the fire by adding a 6th. But it would be an add 6. So G over A add 6. G6 or G add 6 over A. That's it. So, and so that's that. F7 or F major 7 under A, and then also under A slash chord would be G major add 6. You know what this reminds me of? Turn up the radio. I think it was G. Yes. Something like that. I'll have to figure that out. Yeah, so if we did that. Yes. This is where the thumb comes in, you see. That's all under G. Everything is just based on G. So you have a G major, C under G, and then F under G. Back to G. So it's much easier to play it here, where we can just do. It's not so much easier now, because now we got to go back. How do we do that? I don't know. You literally leave it alone, right? But it's not played there, it's played here. So, turn it down. Yeah. I used to know how to play that whole damn thing. I still remember a little bit of that whole, you know, that's fun. That was a great deal to me. It was one of the first things I could do with 2 fingers, as opposed to just one, going like. Oh, how'd that go? Was that it? I don't remember, but we can figure that out again. But that's fun. Do that little riff at the beginning of Def Leppard, Let It Go. Well, I'll have to figure that out. I mean, the only Def Leppard song I know kind of by heart is that whole. Let's see. No, how do they? And I still have to figure that out. No. You know, photograph, but you know. That's a good tune. You know, the beginning is not in the same tune as the rest of the song. That whole little bang they got playing in the beginning there is slightly off tune for the rest of the tune. And that isn't even in the right exact tuning for the rest of the tune anyway. So, yeah, okay. I know you know it. That's great. But let me go ahead and find it. So, what's the name of that song again? Let It Go, Def Leppard. A-R-D, let. Oh, Let It Go, man. And it's not, oh my God. I'm still getting used to my new keyboard. I have a habit of over-typing things. And not only did I not type a L for leopard, I typed Def Qard. K-E-O-O-A-R-D. L. P-P-A-R-D. Thank you. Let... Oh, are you talking like Let It Rock? How did that, something like that. Ah, it's E. All right. I'll figure that out. Yeah, anyway, one of those things. That's different. It's always fun to change keys, another level of... Okay, so let it go. Yes, let it go. Let it go. So... I think. Something like that. Yeah, I know. It's ear training for you. But it's just a matter of figuring it out. I thought the song was called Let It Rock. To tell you how far back I go. So, what was this off of? High and Dry or On Through the Night? Yeah, let's see. Everybody's saying it's the best Def Leppard. High and Dry. It was High and Dry. Yeah, High and Dry. Yeah, got it. Yeah, second, third, fourth, Opus 3. Yeah. By the way, they should be probably tuned to E flat. Usually, I think this is actually in the regular one. Yeah, High and Dry. I figured it out. I know there's a delay. I'm sorry. So. Yeah, that's it. So, no, that's great. It's a good riff. Never figured it out before. So, like I said, that was pretty much it for me as far as that's concerned. And by the way, these kind of things is very 80s because, you know, you also had Rat doing that. Yeah. You know, that kind of stuff. But they usually used more distortion. You know, let's turn the Rat on. Yeah. It's a little closer to it, I think. Let's see. I'll get the... It's still a little on the muddy side. Could be the pickups. Could be that. Could be the fact that I'm going through something that I tuned specifically for leads. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. Cool. So, what comes after that? If you play the opening riff, see, that's the trap that I got myself into when I first started, but I think I turned out okay, is that I could play like the intro to every Metallica song. So, yeah. Kurt, can you play one? Yeah. Could you play Fade to Black? And of course, there's always the pause, but you work really hard on not doing the pause, so, you know... You know, that kind of... You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Everybody starts pretty much the same way. Yeah, Kurt, can you play Master of Puppets? You have to do the face, you know, when you're doing it. I think I can play it, yeah. Can you play the main riff? Oh, no. And I do the chord like that. So, yeah, that. But, oh, the double stops. Well, dude, yeah, double stops have been around. You know why Eddie Van Halen liked the double stops? Because Eric Clapton liked the double stops. He was a Clapton fanatic, dude. Fanatic. By the way, I do have messages to check. Sorry, Stu, if you're out there. So, yeah, sure, I heard it in your voice. I'm not pulling any monkey business, but you want the slang banana. I'm more concerned about your current well-being, dude. Hope you're going to be all right with the whole, you know... No, wait. Say it a different way. This is the problem with composing on the fly. Is sometimes you compose something and you're like, no, erase. But if you're doing it live, you know, it's like I'm doing ERP shows, and I keep hitting the F or the F sharp. You know, I'm wrong, but I'm live, and everybody sees that I'm wrong. So you know. I'm just, you know, what am I doing? I don't know. That's essentially what I did right there. So Stuart, if you're out there, no, dude, keep the guitar. You're fine. You're good. It's okay. So never imagine getting up in front of people and playing anything like that. Well, you don't have to play it. Well, yeah, that's the point. Don't play wrong. But you know how to play wrong on purpose, okay? Because oh, dude. Did you know that in any 7-note scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Octave would be, you know, the 1 starting over again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, and so forth. In between every 7-note scale, how many notes are left out? 5. Because 7 plus 5 is 12. We have 12 total notes, right? Well, 12 meaning the octave, of course. If there's 11 total notes, you still have, you know, 5 notes that we're leaving out. What are those 5 notes in the major scale? For G major, okay, and then we have this. Well, we don't play this note, and we don't play this note. What's the fallout? Pentatonic. Every note you don't play in major, minor, Phrygian, pick the diatonic scale. You've got in between those notes pentatonic. And the worst thing you can ever play in the world is that scale while you're supposed to be in one of those keys. So I'm playing G. Every note that isn't in the scale. So, let's see. Scales are 14 notes, I think. No, they're not. So let's see. Unless you're working with 14 tone, here's the thing. Microtonic, like tuning. So, or not just tuning, but like it's literally an entirely different. So if you're talking about microtonal systems, you can have 14 notes an octave. Sure. But we don't. Not in the Pythagorean system that we've figured out today. That's what we're using. If you've got 12 notes total in a chromatic system, you know, from octave to octave, it's, you know, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. Blah. That's it. There's only 12. So there you go. Let's see. Many people think just 7 for diatonic. By the way, that's a misnomer. Diatonic scales. It's just dia and tonic. Dia is to divide tone. So it's divided tone, and it's based off the Pythagorean, Pythagoras figuring out, ratios. And that's pretty much it. You're dividing the sound. Well, where are you dividing it? Well, here you're dividing it in 1/2. Here you're dividing it in 3/2, I think. So here you're dividing it in 23/8. It's something like that. It's some fucking thing. I knew a few of them a while back. But that's it. That's what divided sound means. And so when we talk about diatonic scales, what we're really talking about is the Greek modes. But we call it diatonic. It doesn't mean 7 tone. Dia doesn't mean 7. It means 2. It's divided. So it's just like dissection, right? So we don't say anything like that. If anything, we should be doing things like 8-tone hexatonic, septonic for 7. We should be doing sexatonic for 6. Like the blues scale is a sexatonic scale. Pentatonic. We say pentatonic anyways. 5-tone. Penta 5. Tonic tone. We have 12 frets to the octave. That's correct. If you have 14, that's a problem, unless you're playing microtonal music in a 14-tonal system. 14 semitonal system. So I can just goof off all day. So there are many scales with more or less than 7 notes. Yes, of course there are. Spanish has 8. You can the 6 notes. I was just saying the blues, 5 notes for pentatonic. Anything less than that. Then the pentatonic scale isn't really even a scale anyway. It's essentially just a big old chord. So, but we're playing it in arpeggiated fashion, each note, separate. Like minor pentatonic, for instance, is minor because you have a minor third. Okay, you got a fourth. Okay, great. Hold on to that. Because it's minor, the fourth is going to be an 11. You got a 5, all right. We never really say anything about the 5. And you got a flat 7, all right. So you got an A minor, flat 7, 11. That's your chord. That's the pentatonic scale. That's a chord. It's also a chord if you look at it like this, That's the 2 real chords right there. It's the 3rd time I found myself playing that damn thing tonight. So, all right. So I got to catch up on you there. So say 7 notes is just the Western norm. Well, yes, but where does the West start? It's a lot east of us. It's in Greece. Let's see. A lot of 5-tone scales, by the way, also lived in the West, but in Africa. Most of their music is very pentatonically based, and usually it's a major pentatonic, but you don't really hear it like that. Eastern music is also pentatonically based. So common, right? Or Japanese. That kind of thing. So, those wiggly frets, that's for perfect temperament. Man, I'm telling you, those are pretty great. But I will never use them because I like straight frets. I don't even like, fan frets to have multi-scale or anything. I don't like that at all. It's uncomfortable to me. So, let's see. B string a smidge to make it sound sweeter. Okay, well, that's actually more closely aligned to Pythagorean tuning. So, because each note really is an overtone. Have you ever watched, and I usually watch this about once a year, and I think my friend Stuart here also watches it about once a year. It's Leonard Bernstein's 1974 talks at Harvard University regarding phonology and the language of music. That is one of the first places you'll actually hear about sympathetic resonance, but he does it on a piano. You can do it on a guitar, and I did it last week. Whereas if I play an E, and not hit anything else, just hold the B note down, play an E, and then stop the E, the B resonates perfectly. Why? It's a perfect fifth, by the way. So if I did the same thing, I can do that. We can find another note that lives in there, like the octave is an easy one. I'll hold down an E. It rings out by itself. It's sympathetically resonant, right? Another one that we can do, it's a little harder to hear, like that right there. That would be a fourth. But I can't hold on to that while I'm doing it. I'm still here. Oh, did I just press that? Should be an A. Another one, because the A is also going to live in there. Well, how about a third? Minor third. It's a little harder. Let's try it here. Barely hear. But it's there. My noise gate's cutting it off. Let's try a major third. That one comes through a lot more easily. Why? And did you hear that sound? Okay. There's your major third. This is all where the string would be divided. That's a harmonic node. Technically, it will live up there. Actually, really, it'll live up here. But that's that. It's a harmonic node. That harmonic node just happens to be 5, 4, or excuse me, 5 octave, 3. Well, where the hell's the 4? Well, that's still a 3. Yeah. Excuse me. There is one on the 6. But that's, yeah, anyway. So that's the whole thing. You can find all these kind of things. So, all right. So what are you talking about here? Let's see. Oddly, the pentatonic scale is nearly universal in all cultures from Japan to Iceland. It's not odd. Correct. Pythagorean, yeah, it also shows up in a lot of Western scales. It's just not considered Western modes or Greek modes, technically. Pythagorean is, A of 2 plus B to the second. It's A squared plus B squared. I see what you're doing there. Yeah, you're using the caret as a power. All right, sure. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Yes, that's all I. Well, look into Pythagoras in music. And Donald Duck actually will do a great justice showing you they show it as a lyre, but it was a monochord. It was essentially a thing with one string on it, and then another one with another, and then he had another string there. Okay, what if we cut the string in half? Here, so this one, we'll put a thing underneath like a fret, and they're tuned exactly the same. So one chord, but on the next string, that's the same sound. When played together. That is the same sound. It is unisound. All right, so it's E. All right, so let's cut that in half. That is also the same sound. Okay, but it's higher. It seems to be higher. And then they would go on with that, but they would do it with math, with ratios. So that's it. So, that's fine. But they were in a cult. So, I mean, all this was like secret knowledge and keys to the universe for them. I mean, for us, it's just math. So, actually, for us, it's just music. And it's what music became. But with the whole thing about the sweeter B, that would be the B note that is really registered as like the third of G. So, if you're playing G, where's your third? That's the B. So, what B is that naturally resonating there? We're going to find that guy right here. So, let's see, 4 frets away. Did you hear that sharp? Right there. So now we have a true B for G. But that is going to be off a little bit for there. Not much. But when you get higher, it'll be just a little more off. It's not the same. But Pythagorean tuning is a little bit different. That's the classic temperament, where essentially we're tuning everything, and this is more like a piano, clavichord, stuff like that, with, what are the exact things, the exact harmonic notes, and we're going to go up that way. This is why that you would hear stuff like D minor is the saddest key. It's because the notes were so far apart from each other by the time you got to D minor that it really was extra dissonant and extra sad and extra pulling, it's terrible, it's so sad. You can't hear that today because we temper our notes. We move octaves just a little bit here and there. We shove things together in little bits. So it's all exactly the same all over the place. So D minor is no longer the saddest key because it can't be. So, yeah. Let's see. Our instruments use math to create tones, but our ears like it's slightly imperfect sound at best. Most of it. Yeah, it depends on who you talk to, right? So the original string theory, as it were, yeah, it is though. You're right about that. You have a flamenco guitar, 3 steel strings and 3 nylon. Interesting. Sounds whacked out, even if it's played correct. That might just be that the intonation's off. And that's very common in acoustic instruments. This is what I was talking about earlier with when I build my own guitars. Each neck is like hand fit, and then I put the bridge exactly where it's supposed to be. I even kind of reconnoitered this jig, which is made out of a couple of coat hangers. I pulled some parts off, heated it up, put it around like so. But I put a piece of leather under the guitar, run the coat hanger jig up and around this way, and what that jig does is it holds on to 2 little tiny holes there. Guitar strings. Hi there, Hoppy. How you doing, buddy? There's my kitty. But he's a good boy. But it holds those the 2 E strings. And I will place the bridge underneath where the saddles are about halfway in. And as I'm placing the bridge, I'm paying attention to 2 things. I'm paying attention to the relief on the side of the strings. In other words, from this side of the E string on, and this side of this E string on. And I'm trying to get them put perfectly exactly to where it's about 2 to 3 millimeters on each side. Either way, I want the relief to be equal on both strings. In other words, this string comes in just as far as that string, and so forth. And I have to position it just perfectly here for that. Now, I start to tune it up, and I use 2 G strings for this, believe it or not. I'll go ahead and I will hit the string, hit the octave, then I'll hit the note. Okay? Reposition a little bit, because sharp is short. So if the note is sharp, obviously, like I go and I hit the 12th fret and it sounds like an F, I'll be like, whoa! So that's short. I got to bring it back this way and lengthen it out a little bit. And when this note is perfect, I'll make sure this note is perfect to itself. While I'm placing the bridge, then I'll do the same with the 24th fret. You can hear that's just a little flat, which means this should probably, because sharp is short, flat means it's too long, so this should probably come forward just a little bit. In fact, I could do that right now if I had a screwdriver with me in front of me, but I do not. So I will not. But still, I make the adjustment, though, with the bridge itself, because I haven't set it yet. And once it's perfect, the relief is perfect on both sides, and that both notes are exactly, and I mean exactly, to my ears, absolutely dead on for intonation, I keep it where it is, and I take, an awl, an AWL, or a bradle if you want to call it that, and I poke in where the screw holes go. And then I'll just start digging. All right, drill, screw it together. And that, as a case in point, I got a guitar out there called the Pig Iron that I set that to. I didn't have to move the bridge saddles at all. It is in the perfect position. It has perfect intonation, and it has never not had perfect intonation. I mean, it is perfect. So, yeah, that's how you do it. And no, it won't change if you lower the action, and no, it won't change if you raise the action. Yes, it will change if you change the angle of the neck. So if I put a shim in here, that is going to change your intonation, because it will lengthen the distance between these 2 points. Moving this up does not lengthen that distance. Moving it down does not lengthen that distance. Moving this way lengthens the distance. Okay? So that's that. Cat. Oh, good. Well, good kitties. Kitties all around. So, yeah, it is a balancing act between many different forces and dimensions. Right. Tedious task, fiddly. Yes, fiddly bits. Very good. So, small adjustments can make a big difference. It's true, but this is why I place all of my bridges, and one of the reasons why I don't like to build guitars with floating bridges. But the guitars I will build with, static fixed bridges. The guitars I will buy with a tremolo, because I hate to build them. They're too fiddly. So, 1 millimeter is a huge difference. This is one of the reasons why I don't play 24 and 3/4 inch scale guitars. I do not like them. It doesn't feel right to me. And to make it feel right, I would have to switch gauges, and that's not going to feel right under my finger. I'm going to have to get a heavier gauge in order for it to have the same kind of picking tension or tension for bends. It's just not something I want to go through. And I don't think anybody should have to. So, yeah. Oh, gosh, it's 9 o'clock. Well, ladies and gents, or any lady out there at all, mostly gents, I'm sure. Not so much. It depends on the gauge of string. So, I've got a few scallop guitars. Actually, I had 3, now I have 2. But I have 2 scallop guitars, and they're both using 10s, and it takes a good amount of pressure to really get it to go out of tune. So, if you're using 11s, you're probably not even going to feel a difference. So, except for it's a high wire act, because there's no place that your finger can go to help you keep hitting the note. If you go, if you're going to tap and you miss the string, there's nothing there to stop you and make you kind of hit the right one. You've gone through, buddy. It's over. So, by the way, something neat that you guys might want to try. Learn correct while you are young, peeps. Yes, that's another problem you have with guitar in your old age is you have I do too. Let's see. It plays havoc on your playing as well. Okay, so I have had, over the last month, kind of an interesting transformation. I mentioned the carnivore diet. That is an excellent one for anti-inflammatory purposes, and I started that diet because it was supposed to have a really good effect on arthritis. Today is the first day in a month that I felt the arthritis I have here, and that was early this morning, and it's gone again, so there's that. I'm just putting it out there. I'm not a nutritionist, but it's working for me for a month. Within 3 days, I wasn't feeling it. And then nothing until this morning, just a little bit, like a little flare-up, and then it's gone again. So, Take that for what it's worth. So, squeezing harder, yes. I mean, look, you know, you'd really have to kind of push on it, though. And these are kind of a medium jumbo fret, I would suppose. They're not totally jumbo. I put huge frets on my guitars. What Warmoth would call the almost scalloped feel, but it isn't. It's not the same thing. So, well, bud, I'm here every week, and I've started doing what I call a pajama jam on Saturday mornings, where I'll get on and I'll answer more questions and, you know, have conversations with people. So if you want to show up on Saturday morning as well, you can. If you feel like supporting the channel, I have a Patreon. If you, you know, you got to give the spiel, right? Please like, share, and subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. And yeah, well, I hope playing gets better for you. Try what I've told you to do, and that's, you know, do the jumps forward. Try to keep playing relaxed. Look up the stylus pick. You know, always, you know, kind of look for music advice in unorthodox places. Like I was saying, Disney and Donald Duck actually did a great thing on Pythagoras. So, oh, bless your heart, man. Very, very cool. You guys take care of yourselves out there, and I hope to see you all next Monday, and probably, you know, Saturday morning, I got to start saying now, too. I'll be in my PJs. I'll see you there. So, good night, everybody. Have a very pleasant tomorrow, as they used to say, and as my t-shirt